little loud in the old ear holes, but that's fine, easily to adjust. Good. Looks like we got visual. As confirmed, no webcam because of the Flubs update. I'm not ready for it. No webcam. And we got audio, so hello people of the internet. It is I, Solarak Dragon here, back with more Fate Grand Order, where we will be taking on a Meihousou Most Foul in today's stream. However, before that, let's go over the news, shall we? Since it has been about a week since we last streamed Fate. Only 2 news parts, though. One is the summon and one is the info itself. For the summoning campaign for this, it is simply Xelter, Tristan, and Celeri on Raid Up. Not the best one for Celeri, considering what's coming up, but a good one for Xelter. Xelter is a very solid unit. And then for the event itself. So, I pressed the wrong button. The event actually started about 3 days ago, and a lot of it's already been unlocked, but I picked a good time considering what everything is. So, a Meihousou Most Foul. Event period from the 14th to the 25th. The story begins when a new minute singularity is detected. Structured differently than any yet seen, the singularity contains myriad locations and symbols from various time periods all in one place. It's almost like being in a movie. In this world created from the bitter frustration of a filmmaker who left a movie unfinished, completing the production is of greatest importance. Amid a flurry of speculation about the film's ending, one can only wonder how this story will conclude when the mystery is finally laid to rest. So, lights, camera, action, limited time event, a Meihousou Most Foul is here. The setting, a Caribbean Hollywood. Ooh. Your mission with the funnest director and cast Chaldea has to offer at your side, complete an unfinished movie and set the late director's soul at ease. In-game graphics may vary from images used within this article. Certain quests will be unlocked at a later date. You have cleared Singularity F, Fuyuki, so this should take place before the Lost Belts. Because I love trying to piece together every single, timeline for this game. Let's see. Clear the limited time event 3 section 13 and vote for the story ending you most want to see. The theory that receives the most votes from all masters will be chosen as the final chapter for the event of the story. The other endings will be added to the material at a later date. So the voting period is essentially from now until tomorrow. So, again, I chose a really good thing. You have to clear section 13 in order to vote for a theory, and once you've cleared section 13, 5 voting quests will be available during your vote period only. Choose the theory you want to vote for and execute the quest to vote. Voting quest will not contain a cutscene. The other voting quest will disappear once you've executed your chosen voting quest. As a token of our gratitude, we'll be distributing 200 mana prisms to everyone who votes. That's really nice. You have to complete it by the 18th at midnight to receive your rewards, and they will proceed in your present box. So enjoy a story right out of the movies in the main quest, unlocked on a daily schedule with release of section 8 through 13 on the 16th. A vote will be held in-game where all matches will decide the outcome of the story. Details will be announced at a later date. You can progress through this event and follow the story by clearing the main quest. As such, there will be no free quests. So, obviously, we have a lot to catch up on. A lot. And there's a summoning campaign to go with it. But yeah, it's gonna be a long one today. I'm not really sure how up for voices I'm going to be, because my throat does hurt a little bit. I did get the Johnson & Johnson vaccine on Friday. Also, I won't cry. But everything except for the pieces and monuments was completed from the shop, and just because I don't want to get any uneven numbers. Yep, don't have enough, so QP! 1 million. And all missions were, of course, completed. Beyond that, though, I need to check some stuff. Okay, that's just that. Nothing new from here. Okay, what is the summoning campaign currently going on? It is the... Not this one. It is currently the Rider banner, it looks like. So if I go to here, when was the Avenger banner going to start? So the extra is the 23rd. The 23rd is until the 25th. So next week, Monday, will probably be when we do our rolling, because I want to try and get me a Celery. And I suppose Gorgon would be nice as well. Most importantly, I would love to get Sitanai on this. That would be so magnifique. That would be very nice to get Sitanai on this, especially after she evaded me for so long. Yeah, so we're not going to be rolling anytime soon. Limited time things. Login bonus. Consecutive quartz. And the 4 Apollo quartz. There we go. But, yeah. So, I think I need to check master missions. Do I have friends summons? I do. We'll do that real quick. Get the 30 friend spins out of the picture. And then we will start the event. Now, I don't believe I've got enough embers to level anybody up, so I'm not terribly concerned there. I do need to get rid of these extra foes and servants, though, because they will just clog up my already clogged up inventory space. My already very clogged up inventory space. Good lord, I'm over on craft distances. It's probably not going to let me do anything. I guess I gotta take care of that real quick. Why am I sorted by acquisition? Sort by level. Golden Sumo. And down towards the bottom. Again, I really need to go through my second archive and all this and figure out what I can burn and what I need to save, since I'm a collector. So that would be enough, but I want to make a little bit of extra space, you know? I can probably get away with another flurry of burns. Oh yeah, definitely can get away with another flurry of them. I'll call that burning there, though. No need to go beyond. Alright, so with that out of the way, there's literally nothing else. I could skill up somebody to 6s or 7s, but I've got a lot to do, so I can't really be stalling for time. So we'll start things off with Section 1, Murder. It's murder. I thought we were on a movie set, not murder. Murder at the Meihousou, Prologue, Section 1. But like I said, I'm probably not going to do too many voices, just because the vaccine actually kicked my ass. Heck, I nearly fainted pretty much minutes after getting the vaccine, you know? And then the past couple days, it's just been... ugh. Feeling better now, except my throat's hurting, really. Our story begins in the kingdom of Nada, a tiny Caribbean nation. Its founder, the first king, was beloved by all of his people. But over generations, the royal family's reputation diminished. Poor governing tore the nation apart, and the people of the nation ceased to revere their king. As the situation worsened, the people came to desire democracy, and so formed a militia for the revolution. The king turned a deaf ear to their pleas, though. Instead, he elected to remain in his palace and enjoy his life of luxury. In consequence, the revolutionaries gained more and more power, fueled by the people's grievances. And then, the day finally came. Okay. So the Massive decided to act. To think I would make such a grave error in judgment. What's the problem? All you gotta do win is wipe a war is wipe out the opposing side, right? All that matters is that we are still standing and this is over. You blithing fool, can't you see how many of them there are? The odds are against us. Nope, sorry, I was too busy cutting down enemies to feed my sister after our parents died to learn about statistics. I suppose there was little sense in making you commander. Very well then, leave. Go wherever you wish. Fine by me, guess this means you and I are through. Miguel Angel Cortez. Well, General Tan, can I convince you to surrender peacefully? At our age, surely you wish to avoid needless injury just as much as I do. I have no intention of refusing to acknowledge reality, but I also know that your army is quite determined to take advantage of the situation. Hey, Red Velvet, welcome to the stream. Happy things. So I thought you could at least serve as a scarecrow of sorts and draw the rebels' attention away. Then while your forces and theirs stared each other down, my soldiers could strike them from behind. A clever plan, General Tan, just what I would expect from you. That sort of thinking is exactly why I had to stay one step ahead of you. Well, you succeeded. I never dreamed you would come to kill me in my sleep. Now my army is destroyed thanks to your ambush. Ah, you're with some friends in the VC. Nice. Oh, I'm just starting the event. Yep, totally not behind on it all or anything like that. Just starting it. But I'm happy to hear. Also, what kind of mistake happened in the friend lock? Oh yeah, it's a pure story event. Some sort of movie thing? It's like the murder at the Kobatsuken, or however it was pronounced thing, I guess. Where it's just story and you get a lore and a grail, I think, for the whole thing. So I think you can literally just skip through it, but I guess there's a choice to be made later. Something about a movie, finishing a movie. I know Arash, Tristan, and the people vote on the endings and stuff like that. It seems interesting, to say the least.
Well, what will you do now? I can't imagine you think you'll hold back the rebel army with your forces alone.
That's your problem right there, General Tan. You are too earnest for your own good. As a matter of fact, I've already reached understanding with the rebels. You confused an Absol, it used sword dance, then it killed itself. Oh no! Poor Absol! Poor Absol. Once I've conquered the palace, I'm to be the new government's representative. They have no more desire for senseless bloodshed than I do, after all.
You contemptible wretch. Even I couldn't have imagined you would be so self-serving.
Please don't think too poorly of me, General Tan. If anyone here is to blame, I would say it's you. With Vice General Miguel Angel Cortez coup d'etat delivering the final blow, the kingdom of Nadai Nada was no more. Soon after, the Republic of Nadai Nada stood in its place, with Miguel serving as its first president. Though the nation never reached its heights of power it once knew, the people were more than happy to enjoy a new peace in its stead. 10 years later. Interesting. Hey, that means you got another chance to catch the Absol. So, Saliri, Yagyu, Ozzy's in this, as is Izo. Salazar, Tristan, Mash. Oh, I think this is the one that introduces the one dude. Okay, this is a very nice, cool little opening. I loved this little opening here. That was awesome.
Are you ready yet, Elise?
You're so impatient, Uncle.
I'm not impatient, you're just slow.
Anyway, hello, Transport Pikmin. Welcome to the stream. And I know who Bartholomew is. I'm hyped for all the new low rarity servants we should be getting next year? Or is it this year? One of these year anniversary. Either this year... No, it is this anniversary. This anniversary is when we get a bunch of new bronze tier servants. I think. But welcome, Transport Pikmin. Welcome. Very interesting nickname. Are you actually an onion in disguise, perhaps? And if so, what color Pikmin do you transport? Surprised there's such a beautiful mansion all the way out here in the middle of the nowhere.
Used to be one of the royal family's summer homes. The people tore down or sold the other ones, but this one remained to serve as Miguel's residence.
Oh, that Miguel guy's dead right now, right?
Indeed, he passed on before he even turned 60. I still have trouble believing he's gone.
Bye, Velvet. Thanks for dropping by. It was nice chatting with you.
Go on now, say hello to his widow.
Okay, so Miguel was Moriarty. Murasaki is Moriarty's widow, Gabriella.
Welcome, Lord Antonio. Welcome, Lady Elise. You're too kind. It's an honor to be invited. Not at all. As the new head of the Meihousou Manor, it's my pleasure to have you all here. It's almost time for the toast, so I'll see you both later.
I do like that we get to see Jalter in her Shinjuku outfit again. This specific outfit, to be specific, you know. Since the other one is unlocked. It'd be nice to get this one unlocked, too. Not gonna lie.
She can't fool me. I can tell she's secretly dancing for joy. With her husband's untimely death, she's got all his wealth to spend however she likes. Although if you count the time she spent as Miguel's foster daughter, she's with him for 10 years.
Wait. Hold up. Widow. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, this is totally not worth giving up a huge portion of your life for. I don't envy her one damn bit.
Watch your mouth, Elise.
Sorry, Uncle, by the way, who's that suave-looking person over there?
Hey, Ryoma! Probably not a good idea.
Seems familiar somehow. Wait, that uniform is from the Old Kingdom. Excuse me, but you wouldn't happen to be Antonio Roberto Jabim, the court musician, would you?
You know, how come Salieri gets to keep his first name?
It doesn't seem too fair.
Roma. Is this the fabled Roma servant everybody's been hyping up? Ryoma is actually Roma all along? And, I mean, you know, I don't think it is, though, Transport. I don't think it is.
Once upon a time I was, and who might you be? My name is Roma Koreshi. I used to report to General Cortez. I thought I recognized you. I saw you in the palace a number of times, though of course I hardly expect you to remember me. I don't see any Miguel's other subordinates here. He must have really cared about you. I'm afraid I know almost nothing about politics. Are you a high-ranking government official now? No, I'm actually quite ignorant of politics myself. I resigned before the new government was established, and now I'm the town doctor. My family was rather poor, so the only reason I joined the army in the first place was to give myself a chance to attend medical school for free of charge.
Clever.
Oh, so you're a medical officer then?
I'm just awfully fancy for a doctor.
Well, this is just the nicest outfit I own. It's one of the few I own that miraculously escaped being eaten by moths, so I figured it would do for a formal dress. By the way, I don't believe I caught your name.
It's Elise. Maybe you've heard it before?
Oh, you're that singer. I heard your voice on the radio. Well, it seems like it every day anymore. Well, I leave it on all the time in my clinic, so I've become very familiar with their songs. They do wonders to cheer up my patients, too.
Of course, my voice paired with this music can lift anyone's spirits.
Ironically, leaving the position at the palace turned out to be the best thing that could have happened for my musical career. And it just goes to show that the rest of the world may finally cut up to you, Maestro. But maybe.
Oh, come on, Uncle. What do you care if plebs like you music?
Stop that. I must apologize for my niece. I'm worried her refusal to learn any manners will be the death of her career someday. Well, that's alright. At any rate, I'm surprised you made it through the massacre. I remember they slaughtered everyone in the palace that day. Even the non-combatants.
Brutality. Sheer brutality. He betrayed them, didn't he? Or he fled the palace at the sight of all the killing.
That's, No, I'm sorry. It's a painful memory for me, too. I shouldn't have brought it up so casually. Anyway, I'm sure I'll see you later.
I'm not really one for classical music, so I can admit, not really fond of this background music.
Man, look, this place is huge. There's hardly anyone here. I could count them all on my 2 hands. Yes, I find that strange, too. It's not the only weird thing around here. I know you're not exactly a spring chicken, Uncle, but look at the other guests. They're almost all relatively young guys. And they're all really good looking too, don't you think? Now that you mention it, I suppose they are. Almost none of them seem like they belong here.
Arash, Ozzy,
Garcia.
Arash. Why are you two talking with that guy in the white suit? Are you really a famous singer, composer, doer? I'm so glad that I am not attempting to do voices for all these. Good lord, it would kill my voice here.
May I ask who you are?
It is I mean, my name is... Okay. So they're all in... Okay, I feel like they all might be just in character right now, because Ozzy nearly slipped right there. Like, that was so close. You know he wanted to say it is I, Ozymandias. I mean, the name's Vargas. I'm Garcia, Vargas' partner. Sorry, we're both dressed like slobs. Ozzy's not dressed like a slob at all.
May I ask how you know the deceased?
Well, is that are you two trying to say I don't belong here? Get that out, Vargas. Your inner hick is showing. Oh, Ozymandias, the king of kings. Howdy, inner hick. That's hilarious. Sorry about that. Spending all our time out hunting doesn't leave an opportunity for us to practice our manners. Arash was cast perfectly for this role. Ozzy, not so much. You guys are hunters. Sure are. We heard Miguel was big into gourmet food, and we figured it would help us out a ton if we became a regular customer. But he ended up passing just before we finalized an arrangement with him. So now we're hoping to do business with Gabriella. We'll do our best to win her over. What he said. Come on, partner, loosen up. Sorry, guys, he's a bundle of nerves right now. Usually he's much nicer. I'll come chat with you again once he's had a few drinks to take the edge off. Garcia acquitted himself okay, but Vargas seems like he had no idea how to behave properly. And here I had to pull every string I could just to get an invitation. I wouldn't normally expect to run into people like that in a place like this. Maybe they stole someone else's invite then. I suppose they could just be going by Garcia and Vargas to match their names on a stolen invitation. But what they hope to achieve as Nikki India, maybe they're after the Count Cortez's legacy. Maybe they're after Gabriella. She must have had it rough having to marry that geezer and all. You can blame her for wanting to have fun with some new boy toys now. They both nice tan. Look enough to keep her entertained for a good long time. Oh, that's... You really must learn to hold your tongue. This is why everyone says you should just stick to singing. Oh, I agree with you, Sleary. I agree with you. Hey, yes, who are those weirdos? They look totally out of place too, though for pretty different reasons. Who is it this time? Nash and Tristan. I mean, you know. Been worrying about them too. Let's go say hello. Yes, let's. Oh, look, looks like the guys. Yep. So, what is... Pardon me, would you be so kind as to tell me your names? Me, I'm Isidoro Poggioli, traveling musician.
I'm Antonio Roberto Jobim, composer.
My, you don't say. How about you, short stuff? I'm Adriana Molinari, Mr. Poggioli's assistant. So you're starting to become a musician yourself, but you just don't have your own instrument? Yes, that's right. I have no talent whatsoever. So I'm long way forever holding an instrument.
Silence is golden, Adriana. You do well to remember that.
Yes, sir, I'm sorry.
Oh, this is...
Let's really learn to keep your mouth shut too, at least. Yeah.
Alright, I think we had better go greet those strapping young men over there. I'm sure we'll see you two later.
This event is so freaking weird.
Talk about shady, they don't even recognize our names. They could merely be posing as musicians.
There definitely seems to be more than meets the eye with everyone here so far.
The same could well be said of us. Remember, try not to stand out too much.
I know, Uncle. We both have our reasons for being here. Because you're both Avengers. I feel like I've seen the servants somewhere before.
Of course you have. That's the priest who held Miguel's funeral the other day.
Yeah, I know I recognize those good looks. Anyway, why is a priest working as a servant? Salazar.
Oh, if it isn't Lord Antonio and Lady Elise, is there something I can help you with? No, everything is fine.
I'm just wondering why a priest like you is working as a servant. Elise. Oh, it's quite alright. I can hardly blame you for wondering. There's nothing I can't do, so I try to help out any way I can.
Just between us, I lost my memory 10 years ago. And Lord Miguel was kind enough to take me in when I had nowhere else to go.
I've tried to learn everything I could in order to be of assistance to Lord Miguel ever since. That still doesn't explain why a priest. Oh, forget it.
Not to be rude, but what, is this everyone who was invited? There were far more people at the funeral.
Yes, this is everyone. Lord Antonio, Lady Elise, Lord Garcia, Lord Vargas, Lord Roma, Lord Isidoro, Lady Adriana. You all received invitations from Lord Miguel before he passed away. I inspected the invitations myself.
Why, but Mr. McGill is no longer with us. How can you be sure the invitees truly are who they say they are?
Yes, it can be an uncle or one thing. The rest could be anyone, especially those hunter guys in the Bard.
You have every right to be concerned, Lord Antonio. I may not have regained my memories, but rest assured that my loyalty to Lord McGill is as strong as ever. So if any of these guests do turn out to be interlopers, I will deal with them myself.
With them how exactly?
As I said, there is nothing I can't do.
Nice drink. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll be right back with the wine for the toast. Wine doesn't pair too well with toast, though. Maybe it's Gabriella's new lover. He definitely seems devoted enough. Lord Antonio, Lady Elise, thank you once again for coming to my Meihousou. You're too kind. That's not all you know how to say.
And here are your glasses. You're the last to receive them.
Thank you, Salazar.
After you.
Oh no, you first. I'm the hostess after all. I'll take the last one.
I see very well then, if you insist. You take one too, Elise.
And I'll take the last glass. Good, looks like everyone has theirs. Alright everyone, I hope you'll enjoy your stay here at the Meihousou. I want you all to relax and make yourselves at home. This doesn't feel Gabby. I'm sorry. You're living high and mighty now, and all you have to do is sell your youth to that geezer. Good thing you were born poor, huh? Jeez, brutality. You got one in my dress. What's the big idea? I'm so sorry. Poison! What do you think you're doing? Gabriella, please stay with us. Jeez. Oh, we even get the same background. Oh, I loved that event. I really did. I did say I was wanted a second one. I did say that. Alright, so very clearly somebody murdered Gabriella. The question is, who murdered Gabriella? Now, one might think Salazar is the most suspect, but Antonio seemed to suspect that there was foul play already involved in everything. He's surely no Sherlock, so I wonder if he might be behind it all. He very much insisted he used reverse psychology to make sure he didn't get the last glass. It's possible. Very possible. Section 2, Introduction. Indeed, indeed. Murder most foul. And in Section 1, too, I mean, you know, at least in the Murder at the Kogetsuken event, they waited until, like, Section 4, I want to say, was when... Well, no, because Sherlock wasn't even dead at that point. I don't even remember. I think the first one to drop was... The first one we saw drop was technically Bedivere. And then Mordred. Or Morris. I don't remember what Bedivere's name was in that event, though. I see this is really an unusual case. The whole premise is based off of one event, yet its whole purpose is for being is consistency. This is almost so mysterious, I've been working up on it for days, and it still never ceases to surprise. So sorry it took me longer to get ready than I expected. I hope I haven't been keeping you waiting for long. What? No. Don't. No, this is not... No, Romani! What? Romani! The Prilly event was supposed to be the last time we saw you in an event. Why is Romani here? Romani! Dude! How are you here? Murasaki doesn't join us until we're already in the Wandering Sea. How are you here, Romani? It's okay, you're right on time. Nice to meet you, Murasaki Shikibu. Sorry to call you on such short notice. Not at all, so what's this big favor you want to ask me? Well, I've been observing a small singularity for a while now, and I wanted to ask your help in erasing it. Usually I'm talking to Sol about this, but I thought it might be best to do a bit of groundwork before bringing him in. See, this latest case is kind of unusual. I had Chiba examine it, and it turns out this singularity has sort of unique structure. It's hard to describe, but it kind of looks like it's the Caribbean, and only has a bunch of other locations packed into it. It's kind of like this tiny world models from various time periods, and all lined up willy-nilly. These models are all extremely detailed, but none of them are real. I know you aren't familiar with this particular culture, so I hope this is making sense. Tiny world with all sorts of models. Admittedly, I know almost nothing about this, but that sounds like it might be good for filming a moving picture. Yes, exactly, it's a movie. Huh? This latest singularity is basically a film world. Well, to be completely fair, it's something of an unfinished work as far as I can tell. I'm speculating here, but I think it's begun when a ghost, probably a director, passed on before he could finish his last move. Wait. When a director passed on before he could finish? Is Romani somehow the source of this? Some unfinished business to Romani? Then this ghost probably happened upon a Holy Grail fragment and ended up making a singularity out of his regrets. I mean, so we know Romani's got a lot of regrets. He was King Solomon after all, and he incarnated, and then he traveled the world. Did he... I don't know. So to resolve this one, we need to focus first and foremost on finishing the movie. But the catch is that the whole premise of this world is built on is that the movie is unfinished. Hey Mordred, welcome, how'y things. The ghost director can never finish this movie on its own, so eventually, when his wish fails to come true, the singularity should disappear on its own. Hey, J6 as well, welcome to the both of you. I'm very confused, and I'm only in the second section, but I'm already wondering if somehow... Romani's behind the singularity. There's like so many, like, a ghost of a director happened upon a Holy Grail to resolve some unfinished regrets? That sounds bit for bit, word for word, Romani. I'm wondering if that's the case. If this singularity is his regrets or something. I don't know. But I'm feeling so many mixed emotions because Romani's here. And come the end of July, we'll get to see Romani go bye-bye again. Well, I guess those in Japan will, and then North America and the rest of the world has to wait, but... Oh, by the way, I'm so hyped that they announced the Solomon anime movie is end of July. Since this is such a minute singularity and all, I estimate this will be over in around 3 days. I see, so we don't have to do anything about it then. Well, yes and no. See, when a singularity disappears on its own, it doesn't leave anything behind. Aren't one of the Rio servants a director or something? I mean, you know... No, probably more so the fact that the movie is in Japan, you know? The fact that the movie is going to be only airing in Japan will make things difficult. Especially since that means I can't do what I wanted to try and do a live reaction of the Solomon anime when I thought it was going to be an anime. You know? Because if it was going to be an anime, I was going to see if I could mess around with the terms of service and possibly stream me watching and live reacting to the Solomon anime. But clearly that's not going to happen now, is it? But if we resolve what is causing the singularity and the Holy Grail fragments within it, we can get a ton of magical energy. And since Chaldea is constantly running low on magical energy, well, this is very hard for me to say, but I want to resolve the singularity before it disappears on its own. Well, yes, and preferably as soon as possible, before it exhausts its magical energy. Like I said, we know what needs to be done to make this singularity go away. We just finish the movie. But once again, since this world's premise is that the movie is unfinished, we're going to need help to do that. The Ghost Director no longer exists. All that remains now are this one's... The Ghost Director no longer exists. Romani no longer exists. This singularity is Romani's regrets. Romani. Oh, man. I'm gonna feel emotional if we have to say goodbye to Romani again. I'm already gonna feel emotional when I eventually see the movie, because I saw the trailer for it, and hot damn, the movie looks good. I love the new Mystic Code that we'll probably be getting, but they showed a slight snippet of that scene that is going to tear me apart again. If I had to give it a name, I guess I'd call it Drifting Cinema Space Hollywood or something. Just don't tell Edison about that. He's infamous in Hollywood after all. I wouldn't be surprised if he were drawn in quarter the moment he race-shifted there. Why is Edison infamous in Hollywood? Does anybody know the answer to that trivia question? But enough about Edison. What I'd like from you is for you to make your way into the alternative Hollywood and make sure the movie gets finished somehow. It could be whatever genre you like. The only thing I ask is that you try to make a good movie if you can. I'm pretty sure that the better the movie turns out, the more resources we can collect when it's over. And that's why I asked you to come here. I figured an author servant would be the best choice to write and direct the film. But I don't know the first thing about movies. Hey, Infinity as well! Welcome, welcome, happy things, happy things. Poems, novels, plays, and movies might seem to have a lot in common, but they're all very different beasts. Infinity, you gotta sleep, man! You gotta sleep! You know? Trust me, you need to sleep. I'm still, like, having trouble sleeping because I'll wait for you to finish Infinity. But alright, I'll try. I'm usually causing nothing but trouble for everybody else around here. So if there is any way for me to make up for that and to show how grateful I am here to be put by putting pen to paper, I'll do the best I can. You're not a nuisance, Murasaki. Murasaki's not a nuisance. I mean, maybe her little third character monologue thing. I did see the Pacifist Bloodborne run. I did in fact watch that. And I'm partially debating if I should try and get those kinds of poison gems for my own run. I am very kind of partially debating if I should do that for my run, you know? Kind of partially debating. You're in earnest one, aren't you, Murasaki? You'll tire yourself out in no time if you keep that up. You should take a page from Da Vinci's playbook and just smile all the time without a care in the... No, on second thought, the last thing we need is another Da Vinci running around. Besides, like they say, good fences make good neighbors. Basically, do take the assignment seriously, but I hope you'll also take some time to relax, you know? After all, this is a movie we're talking about. You can't make a masterpiece if the crew isn't enjoying themselves. That said, we don't have much crew in our own to spare in this case, or much in the way of supplies and participants. So we need to keep the cast to a minimum, and you need to finish the script ASAP. This singularity disappears in 3 days, so you're in for some serious crunch time. Think you can do it? I'll do my best. It's gonna be even harder since I didn't get much sleep after staying up all night reading that wonderful book, but I can't back out now. Okay, what is with the lack of sleep here? J6 hasn't slept, Infinity hasn't slept for 2 days. Mordred, thank you for actually sleeping, you know? I don't know how you're sleeping and typing at the same time, but I appreciate it. And then I've been having trouble sleeping, although in my case, it's because side effects from the vaccine that I got. You haven't been sleeping because of work. Ah. Fair is fair. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I have to readjust myself, and it hurts to move around like that. It hurts. But yeah, I got the vaccine on Friday, which is why I didn't stream. I mean, I planned originally to stream after I got the vaccine, but then I nearly passed out 5 minutes after receiving the vaccine. So, yeah, I took it easy for the rest of the day, and then I spent mostly all of Saturday, my whole body hypersensitive to touch, and it very much painful. And then yesterday was headache, and pain, trouble sleeping, and today I've got a sore throat, which is why I'm not doing voices. So yeah, it's been a lovely past few days for me. Thanks, Murasaki, it's really encouraging to hear that. I'll talk to Soul about this and fill him in. So all you have to do worry about is coming up with a great movie. Understood, alright then, I suppose I'd better get started. If you need me, I'll be brainstorming down in the library. Johnson & Johnson. And that's pretty much it. Creative endeavor this time, huh? Thank you for listening with 30% less attention than usual, Doctor. So how can Senpai and I help? Needing me to be Master's bodyguard? No, we're barely seeing anything in the way of hostilities here, so there shouldn't be any need for that. This time, all you have to do is enjoy yourself, Mesh. I do have a job for you, though, Soul. Here, take this. Ta-da! It's the Chaldean video camera Da Vinci secretly made a while back. Why did Da Vinci make a secret video camera? Question mark? Pretty awesome, right? Check out how light it is. Not for nothing, this thing costs a small fortune. Everything it captures will turn out beautifully, no matter how little the camera person knows about shooting video, and it can record for dozens of hours straight. Da Vinci, why the hell did you make this camera? I know, why don't you try using it to record your entirely daily life practice? Well, everything except the bedroom and bathroom, of course. Yeah, interesting indeed. Also, can I get that camera? I think it would definitely turn my stream qualities up a notch if it made everything that the camera shows beautiful. You know? Or what was it? Yeah. Make the whole stream turn out beautifully. Or at least my face capture. You know? Maybe it would actually work with OBS as well. Camera-senpai really entranced. Doctor, if we're making a movie, won't we need a proper film crew? Unfortunately, we don't have a heroic spirit versed in directing film. Well, I think we actually do have one, but I have a feeling it would be more trouble than it's worth. Anyway, as long as we get some kind of film out of it, even if it's just documentary, everything should be fine. Even if there's an accident or something that means we have to stop shooting, we can still edit something together as long as we have enough footage. I do trust Murasaki to do a good job, but since none of the cast have ever acted before, well, you never know. That's why I want you to be there recording everything you observe, Soul. You already need to look after your servants there as their master anyway, so you're a perfect man for the job. Anyway, that's all I've got. The rest is up to you guys. You can start by hashing things out with Murasaki. Also, there do seem to be cosmic singularity, but I won't know if we can use them until we get there. I'll need to take that into consideration when making my casting decisions. I've already got servants in mind for most of the parts, but the ones best suited to the last role is Murasaki. Dark Roman told us to come and see you here. Master Soul and his main servant, Mash Chirolite, are ready to race shift at any time. Oh, hello, Lady Mash and Master. The script is, well... Is something wrong, Murasaki? No, everything's fine. I told the cast my idea, and they all said something along the lines of... Never made a movie before, but if it will help with Chaldea's resource troubles, I'm in. And readily agreed to participate. If possible, I was hoping you would be willing to perform in it too, Lady Mash. Would that be alright with you? Yes, I'd be glad to. Don't worry, Senpai. I think I'm a pretty decent actor, if I do say so myself. Oh, Mash, you're adorable. Wonderful. Alright, as for the rest of the main cast... Moriarty. Huh? Is that Moriarty? I wonder what he's doing there. Yes! Wait. Okay, so this has to be, like... This has to be some... Maybe this is a singularity, but maybe Mem and Signs messing with our memories have screwed things up, because Moriarty didn't come until the Epic of Remnant, damn it. And Murasaki didn't come until the Lost Belts. Romani never met either of them, so this is all just a mishmash of Mem and Sign messing with our head, and us wanting Romani to meet some of the cool new people at Chaldea, and Holy Grail maybe somehow granting our wish, and I'm confused. Of all the places for taking time off, Doctor. Where's the doctor? No, that won't do. Come on, Moriarty. Oh boy, count the festivals in behind. Get a hold of yourself, alright? I think you can manage if I just slow down slowly. Crap, I'm losing my balance. Hey, mister, did you see the book with a peppermint green hardcover I left around here? It's very delicate. It can fall apart if someone steps on it by mistake. Have you seen it anywhere? Peppermint green book, you say? That's the very book I just destroyed. The Grail is granting your wish for omnipotence? I don't think it's granting your wish for omnipotence. I think the Grail is just playing off of our regrets for Romani's life not being finished. Is Pi infinite, though? Is it really? You know, I bet you that I could... If I picked a number between 0 and 9, there's a 10% chance I would pick the correct number, the final digit of pi. Uh-huh. Yeah. It's very true. I'm sure. I'm sure. It will eventually happen someday. Someday, it will happen. Well, as a matter of fact, I think I saw someone take it with him before I sat down here. Lying through his teeth. Maybe. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Okay then, I'll wait here until he comes back. I'm sorry, my girl, but would you be wasting your time? You'll feel better if you resign yourself to never seeing him again. Really? Then what should I do? Well, I would hate to see your child cry. Alright, I'll tell you what, I'll give you anything else your heart desires instead. And while I'm doing that, I'd better think of a way to somehow repair the book. Let's see, was there a servant here who could go back in time and restore an object's physical integrity? From Lord James Moriarty? Yes, what is it? Can't you see I'm busy scheming right now? There's something complicated I'd like to talk to you about if you don't mind. I see, yes, of course, I don't mind at all. As long as it doesn't involve my poor back. You guys are going to talk about grown-up stuff, huh? Okay, I'll try not to bother you then. Just please don't forget your promise, mister. I won't. I'll take care of it as soon as we're done here. I'm saved. Well, it all started when... I see. Under the circumstances, I would certainly be willing to perform. On one condition. What is it? I'd like you to restore a book for me, or rather, to forgive me for inadvertently ruining it. You are the mistress of the books, yes? Surely you can fix it. Please, tell me you can fix it. Aww. Moriarty has concern for nursery. I mean, he is Fran's papa, so, you know. He would, of course, have a sweet spot. You know? For any of Fran's friends. Good luck finding the end of Pi. I think it's unlikely someone will find it. You know, eventually I'm sure it will happen. Or somebody will just decide, you know what, this is the last digit of Pi. Anybody who questions me gets the bullet. Maybe. Maybe that's on the extremely unlikely end of scenarios, but it could possibly happen, you know. Also, Moriarty has the most difficult part. How does he have the most difficult part, I wonder? Our task this time is not to win a battle, but to perform a story. Please do keep that in mind. Alright, then let's go reshift our filming location. Drifting Cinema Space, Hollywood! A little bit of lag, it looks like. Yeah. It's Reflector that's lagging, not my internet. Well, that's why I said the extreme case scenario would be them deciding to just give a bullet to anybody who tries to disprove them, you know? Alright, Section 3, Accident. Only selected support servant can participate in battle. Bomb points will not be rewarded. So only this mystery servant. I do so wonder who it could be. It's an assassin, so... Step 3. Section 3. Accident. You condemnable wretch, even I couldn't have imagined you being so self-serving. Please don't think too poorly of me, General Tan. If anyone is here to blame, I would say it's you. Cut. That take was just fine. That's not how math works, and not how the people who do the math think. I know. That's why I said it's an extremely unlikely scenario to happen. An extremely unlikely scenario. But how has everybody been, by the way? Did anybody see the Solomon trailer, out of curiosity? I know I talked about it earlier, but did anybody actually see the trailer themselves? And if so, what were your thoughts on it? Well, all we need to do now is add the voiceover. And that's right for Lord Tajima no Kami and Lord Izo. Thank you both for your help. So that's all for me to do here. Everything ended so abruptly. Oh. Poor Yagyu. He seems like he wanted a bigger role. And here I thought you would give up on this before I did. It seems I'm less patient than I thought. You must have lost track of his sheer number of retakes long ago. One with the computer simply calculates for some millions of years. I don't know. I think the Demon God pillars look pretty freaking awesome in the 3D animation. Like, and I've seen some bad 3D animation. Those Demon God pillars look crisp. Not gonna lie. Plus, you know, as long as Goetia himself is not 3D animated or not poorly 3D animated, I think it'll be fine. Yeah, Tiamat didn't look too great at the beginning. She looked better at the end, though. Poor Yagyu, he's not much of an actor. I'm happy to help any manner my lord wishes, no matter how difficult the task may be. I say I almost envy your sheer steadfastness. After your enlisted performance, Iso, I thought there was a lot of depth to it. All you need to do now is rest up in Chaldea. I'll let you know as soon as the movie's ready for screening. No. Huh? Realm and the others are showing up soon, right? But they're planning to throw another party without me. Oh, poor Iso. Well, if they think you can just forget to invite me again, they've got another thing coming. Okay, so I promise you we're just filming a movie. Nobody's throwing any party. Besides, you're only just now mentioning that this is all you have for me. You're trying to pull a fast one on me. Good grief. Seems we have an overexcited puppy here. It just needs to be housebroken. Still needs to be housebroken. Ha! Bring it out, old man. I just think I could use a decent workout. The others simply prove it, but good luck with that. True. True enough, true enough. But yeah, I mean, a good example of an anime that has had slowly improving 3D, and I'm not sure if anybody's watched it, but I'm a Spider, so what? I've really enjoyed that one, and the CGI has definitely been getting better with that one as time goes. Yeah, I want this, and then put the NP. And a BAQ should get us the rest of the way here. We'll do an evasion. For safety's sake. Yep. They do indeed, they do indeed. Oh, mind's eye fake, you bugger. Yes, all voiced by Aoi Yuki, I want to say, is the proper pronunciation for her name. AKA Shuten's VA. Yep. Shuten's VA is the VA for that. She's the VA for a lot of things, to be honest, so, you know, it's not terribly surprising. And I've not been watching Slime 3 years outside of the first couple episodes. I'm gonna wait till the whole thing comes out, I think, personally. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, Mordred, you've clearly watched it. The Araba fight, good lord, that was like some of the best 3D animation I've seen. You know? That fight was so freaking epic. And you know, it's kind of sad that sometimes the 2D is worse than the 3D in that show. Have to clone her to keep making her eternally a VA. I mean, you know what? Shuten's body design is apparently based off of her. So, you know, let that sink in. The reason Shuten looks like Shuten does is because of her VA. She's also Madoka. Let me see. What else does she voice real quickly here? See if I can't find any things here. So let me see. Who else does she voice in FGO? She voices Okita as well. Okita, she voices Tiamat. Apparently. Both Okitan and Shooting Doji, Caster, Ibuki Doji. Yep. She voices a lot of things. You've read the Ellen and the web novel. You know, there's a lot of things I want to read the Ellens of, but like, I don't know where to like find them, and most of them aren't translated either. And I don't know how to speak or read Japanese. Even though it's kind of something I want to do, but it just seems like a lot of effort. Ugh. You got me. No, I'm alright. I could have sworn you cut right through me. I twisted my blade around immediately before striking, leaving me only with the feeling of having been cut. Excuse me. There are many reasons to leave an opponent feeling as though they have been wounded without truly harming them. Don't you try that dojo fencing shit on me, old man. You're insistent, yeah, because ill-suited for a pup who has never seen the battlefield. Besides, this dojo or something or other you speak of. Dojo fencing. Yes, that even in a dojo, fighters will duel with wooden swords. These swords may not cause injury, but it does hurt to be struck by one. What's your point? I am told that in modern times there is a form of dueling employing non-lethal blades where the fighters do not strike their opponents. In other words, they merely make it seem as though they're striking their opponents like so. And is that supposed to be entertaining or something? This form of sword showmanship, designed to resemble a fight, the death to onlookers, is called fight choreography. Showmanship, swordplay is not a spectacle. Well, that's where you come in. I just wonder just how far you could go in this modern vein of choreographed fighting. You can pay me enough to be part of that stupid play fighting. I've had enough. I'm going to let Ryoma handle this pain-in-the-ass movie stuff. I'm gonna head back to get something to drink. Damn, Yagi with the reverse psychology. Hot damn. Reading 86 volumes? Holy crap, that's a lot of volumes of a light novel. I love getting my tongue tangled. Hot damn, that's a lot. Oh, okay. I thought... Okay. But yeah, I mean... One of the other ones that I really want to read the light novel for is the Shield Hero light novel. Because apparently that's really good. And I'm not sure on JoJo's, because I still have to watch the anime for JoJo's. I still have to find the good starting point for the JoJo's anime. Like, I don't know where the start point is. I don't know if it's the oldest one or what, so. But I need to find that out someday. Someday. Come on, you're bleeding. I'm so sorry we foisted this thankless rule upon you. No need for apologies. We cannot say for sure whose role is thankless until all is said and done. Now that my time here is over, I wish you well with what is to come in this endeavor. Gosh, oh gosh. I felt a little zizzy back there, but I think I'm okay now. He was clearly taken back by learning he had such a small role. You should have just told him from the beginning. Why keep it a secret? Alright, Infinity, thanks for stopping by, man. It was nice chit-chatting with you for a little bit here. Yes, get some sleep, man. Get some sleep. For more than 2 hours. Get at least 8 hours, man. Please get at least 8 hours. But talk to you later, man. Talk to you later. Well, I was actually paying to, Who's that? This is where all that commotion I heard is coming from. Are you filming something here? What am I say? Who are you and where did you come from? Unfortunately, I actually don't remember my name. I do have the sense that I was called to film a movie, but no matter how long I've been filming, never began. If you hadn't come here, I think I would just be waiting for Brad to disappear. And does that mean you'd be willing to help us make this movie? Of course, if it's alright with you, I would be glad to help. That's all well and good, but what do you call yourself if you don't remember your name? Might have an idea. What if he called you Salazar? Salazar, I think that has a lovely ring to it. It's the name of a character I have yet to cast, but if it's alright with you... In that case, I would be honored if you would call me Salazar from now on. I am Arasaki Shiku. This is Lord James Moriarty. So my name is inquired to the nature of the role that you need me to play, both philosophically and metaphorically. Whatever it is, I promise I will perform it brilliantly. What philosophy and metaphor have to do with acting? Quite a lot, I'm sure, Moriarty. Genesis Testament 3rd season of Index is getting to volume 4. Wait, and there's... how many volumes? Did you say there was J6? There's the main cast should be joining us soon, so I'll tell the rest once they're here. Good freaking lord. That's a long anime. And light novel. So remind me why in the hell you got me wearing this dress? I mean, I'm not complaining or anything. I actually kind of like it. Looks beautiful on you. Yeah, of course it does. Unconvincing humble brag. Oh, shelter. Now that we've finished shooting the prologue, we'll be moving on to the main story. Although I'm afraid there's something mortifying I need to tell you. The truth is, I still haven't finished the script. What the shit? I do have the whole story in my head, I just haven't had time to write it down yet. Oh, I feel ya, Murasaki. I feel ya. I've got so many fanfiction ideas boiling around in my head that I have not put to paper. So I'm afraid the next is 3 seasons, 25 episodes each. 3 seasons of the anime only represent the first season of the light novel. Good freaking gracious. I'll have to ask you to learn all of your lines anew each time we shoot a new scene. Once again, I'm so very sorry. Are you shitting me? Yeah, this was kind of short notice. Fine, but keep my lines short. Got it. 20-word limit as far as I'm concerned. Anything more and I'll burn you. There you go, easy on her. She's been handling just about everything for this production all by herself. By the way, can I ask which servant you are? I don't think I recognize you. You can call me Salazar. 15 parodies. Although that's just the character I play, since I can't remember my own name. I asked Lord Salazar to play Father Salazar. Father Salazar also has amnesia and doesn't know anything about his past, so it seemed a perfect fit. It's nice to meet you, Salazar. Salazar. Pleasure is all mine, lady. Somebody's getting burnt the minute he comes to Chaldea if he keeps this up. Okay, I don't care. He's going straight in the incinerator when he comes to Chaldea. I don't care. I don't care if he's going to be a new servant. He's getting burnt immediately the second he drops. I will make note. He is to burn. Oh, he's gonna fucking burn. Yes, I agree with everything you said about her, but hands off. Right, of course. How could such a pediatrician not already be taken? Yeah, that's right. Back off. Very well, then I shall instead devote my energies entirely to acting. Yeah, isn't that what you should have been doing in the first place? Dumbass. 15 parody stories, 27 sizers. Good freaking gracious. That's a lot of anime and story to watch and read. 10-year anniversary that has all the series made by the author in one movie. Good gracious. Who can say? Oh, I'm gonna light your ass on fire. No, that's quite enough of that. Right now that you all know your roles, I'd like to begin filming right away. I still have a lot to learn about movies, so I hope you can all bear with me. Master? Kinda trying to film a movie here. Well, you can always edit out my whispering in the post-production. I must say I'm rather impressed by how well everyone is doing, especially given that there was no rehearsal. According to Murasaki's explanation, Antonio is an up-and-coming composer. He used to be the country's court musician, and at least his niece is a singer. Meanwhile, Gabrielle is the erstwhile foster daughter, now widow of my character, Miguel. Foster daughter and now widow. That's still weird. I'm not gonna lie, that is still weird as hell. Fourth season of anime to come out since the New Testament will be adapted, and unfortunately the studio that's in charge of the anime is doing a terrible job. Oh no, that's never good. Like, I heard the first part of the Camelot movie got a lot of flack, and a lot of anticipated animes do poorly when done by a poorly done studio. Apparently I raised her from about a decade, only to die off shortly after marrying her. You raised her? And that sort of character right up Murasaki's alley. Wasn't there something like this in her magnum opus? What will future generations think of me? Oh, I don't know, Moriarty. Oh, Moriarty. Poor Moriarty. Wonderful. JC Studio. That sounds familiar. Roma Kuromeshi used to be mine, Miguel's subordinate, though judging from his background, he almost seemed to be something of an unusual character. JC Studios. Vargas and Garcia are pretending to be hunters, but apparently Vargas is actually Nadi Nada's former prince, and Garcia is his attendant. I bet they're here to cause trouble. Okay. I knew there was something up here. I knew there was something up with those two. Because I could not see Ozzy playing as a freaking, hick. As for Salazar there, I don't know much about him either, so I'll let someone more qualified speak about his role in all this. 92 volumes. Good gracious. That's a lot. That's a whole lot. How long has this been going on for? At any rate, given that there hasn't been a single cut since the scene began, things would appear to be going quite smoothly. At this rate, maybe finish here much sooner than I originally... Something's not right with her. It started in 2000... Really? Damn, that's impressive that they pumped out so much. I'm not going to read all of that until tomorrow. Well, this is fine, Master. Oh, and just to be clear, I had no hand in it. I don't even have a motive. I believe you, Moriarty, but poor Murasaki, who the Okay, so the poisoning wasn't part of the movie. Interesting. Filming must continue. So does that mean this is all going to become improv? Perhaps, since Murasaki didn't put down the lines into paper? Oh, Murasaki. I mean, how many film directors in this kind of situation would expect to be assassinated, to be fair? To be fair? Oh, Murasaki just collapsed. Are you alright there, Murasaki? It's okay, Senpai. Please keep recording. I'm sure we can handle this. For the time being, we should bring her to a proper bed to rest. I think there's room over that way, right? Indeed, it is a small room, but we certainly cannot leave a beautiful sage like her lying on the floor. You think I could read 60%? But that's a lot. Like, how long on average is one of the volumes? So, I know she's probably not dead since she hasn't disappeared, but I can't, that's all I can tell. Well, she's still breathing. I have no idea when she might might wake up. You're the one who prepared our drinks. I was not. While I did serve the drinks, I didn't have time to add anything even to them, even if I had wished. I didn't see anything funny while I was recording either. Wait, assuming I remember correctly, I think I saw her taking what looked like some sort of medicine before she entered the ballroom. Celery, don't you dare look at me. What do you want me to perform? Who demands it? What else are you going to try and pin on me? Any moment now. Chef, oh, 60% of directors would expect... 60% of directors would expect to be assassinated. Shut up, Aw, Marie calms him down. That's kind of adorable. And now that I think about it, Marie has her own harem, doesn't she? I'm the actor playing Antonio. Nothing more, nothing less. That little smile from Marie. Oh, that was glorious. But Marie totally has her own harem. Anyway, this is all really weird. Murasaki's the writer and director for this picture, right? I can't see why she'd want to poison herself. I don't know why she took her, what she took or why, but if nothing else, I think this absolves Salazar. Old Testament first season is fully translated. The rest is translated online, people. Okay. Archer? What's up? Why were you wasting our time? You could settle matters right this moment with your clairvoyance. Oh, that? Would you believe that I'm having a hard time using it in the singularity? Very well, if that is what you claim, I will take you at your word. Hey, Salazar. Given your choice of words earlier, I take it you aren't the one who prepared the drinks, then? No, as the glass had already been filled by the time I picked up the tray. Possibly some outside interference, then. Then who prepared the drinks? Whoever it was, if you're innocent, now is the time to speak up. Moriarty, please, no. I did. Oh, Moriarty! Oh, just while you're all looking at each other, let's take that at some. We can all go home. Oh, man. All of you know, I was simply doing my job as this movie's production assistant. I even brought the script just straight from Chaldea, so it could be used in this very scene you were filming. Sure you did. How about you save us a lot of headache and just confess, old man? Well, it's quite enough for the basis of accusations. I've already solved this particular mystery. Damn, Holmes, that is kind of fast. Simply put, there is no responsible party in this case. It is merely an unfortunate accident. My witness here can testify to that. Parcellus! I just happened to be paying him a visit to have him help me with a few... On second thought, never mind what I was doing. He was making drugs for him. Holmes needed them drugs. Volume 4 is partially translated. Good gracious, there's a lot to read, though. I need to find a good source for LNs that are translated online or something. All that matters right now is that he knows the truth of what took place there. First, I have a question for all of you. Have any of you seen some wrapping paper with the words Hohenheim's safe, cutting edge, forward thinking, perhaps in a trash can somewhere? There's a trash can over there. Let me take a look. Welcome back, welcome back. Yes, there is, right here. Hohenheim, safe, cutting edge, forward thinking. Then it's just as I suspected. Well, that's convenient. I will have to look into this. That's the medicine I prescribed for her. As you know, it puts the patient into a state of deep sleep until they completely recover from their fatigue. What lasts... When did we encounter that stuff last? Was that back in the London Singularity? Was that back in the London Singularity we encountered that, maybe? Because I don't remember otherwise. She asked me to prescribe something that would help her with her exhaustion, so I gave her 2 doses of that medicine. See, what did I tell you? I'm an innocent man. Innocent. Let me say it one more time. I'm innocent. Yeah, la-dee freaking die. Enjoy it while it lasts, geezer. Probably won't ever happen again. Seems Miss Murasaki had been up the entire previous night when she agreed to take on this project. Given that she must have already been exhausted from the lack of sleep before she began the challenging work of writing the script and putting the production together. It is no great surprise she had thought to ask Parcellus and help with dealing with her fatigue. No shit, Sherlock. Staying up for days. Oh gosh, no shit, Sherlock. Never has there been a more appropriate time to say that line, John. Never has there been a more appropriate time for that line. I did wonder why she wanted the medicine, but I decided it wasn't my place to pry. Perhaps it would have been better had I done this so in this case. My apologies, Master. Having reached her limit, Miss Murasaki decided to resort to Parcellus' medicine and collapsed shortly thereafter. This should be abundantly clear by now. This was simply a set of completely understandable circumstances culminating in an unfortunate accident. Naturally, I had looked into the professor there, but alas, for once he's indeed innocent. He may be a reprobate among reprobates, but in this particular case, his conduct has not been questionable. What do you mean, alas? At any rate, good show proving my innocence beyond a shadow of a doubt, Holmes, old chap. I can't actually say I'm grateful to you, but thanks all the same. He's radiating sincerity. Oh. I love the dynamic these two have. Moriarty and Holmes, they have such a good dynamic. I kind of wish I had them in my Chaldea. You're equally welcome. For my part, I would much rather not reduce Chaldea's fighting forces unless be strictly necessary, so I'm thrilled to be able to resolve this peacefully. Guess that means you're innocent too, then. My bad. No, I can't blame you for that. I'm just glad this misunderstanding has been cleared up. What about my apology? I kind of like trying to do Moriarty's voice. I have no idea if I actually am getting it right or not. But in my ears, it just sounds somewhat like how I think he would sound. Piss off, creep. Glad that's cleared up. Oh, Romani! Now what are we gonna do? I don't see how we can keep shooting a movie without its writer and director. Wait, I've got it. We still got options. After all, Kilday is also not just one, but two other extraordinary writers amongst our ranks. Absolutely not. Nary a line shall I write. Hans, Shakespeare, I. Sherlock would most likely throw Moriarty under the bus to save the day. Probably. But then Moriarty would somehow have anticipated that he would be thrown under the bus, and it wouldn't actually be him getting thrown under the bus. He would throw somebody else under the bus instead at the last second. But I didn't even ask you yet. Why are you both turning this down? It's not like this is a physical intensive job, and you should be able to make full use of your talents. Lady Murasaki is the one who crafted this story. I've never been shy about offering my opinions on others' lives, but I have not a word to say on the subject of others' stories. Besides, I have no idea of her intentions regarding the story's direction or conclusion. I wouldn't dare to try and take it over myself with so many unknowns. I want to figure out the great William Shakespeare would be afraid of a little unfinished story. It's not a matter of courage, you buffoon. He just has the sense to know his goddamn place. Yes, there are only so many ways to structure a story and develop a plot. An author of Shakespeare's caliber could easily write a continuation of this story on the spot if he so desired. But there's more to stories than just their structure and plot. They must also have themes. The theme shapes everything about a story. It's the soul of the work, the core of the idea that answers the question of why the author wrote it. And every writer worth their ink in their pen knows trying to write a continuous story when you don't know the theme can only result in a mess. There's an expression from the Far East that summed it up. One can make an image of the Buddha, but one cannot make his spirit. Maybe that's what I'm missing with all my fan fictions I've got floating around in my head. A theme to actually bring them to life. Alright, Mordred, thanks for stopping by, man. It was nice chit-chatting with you for a while. It was nice chatting with you. And I hope to see you in the next one. So, get a good night's rest, man. Do you really want Shakespeare to waste his time writing soulless-driven like that? Certainly my share of soulless-driven purely for entertainment, but this hardly seems a good moment to mention that. I mean, it's not that I don't want to write it down, it's that I don't really know, like... I will admit, I've tried fanfiction in the past. And I was critiqued because I wrote mainly in the third person. You have to satisfy your isekai addiction. Isekai is good. Isekai is good. I wonder if there's any good ones coming out anytime soon. It's like, I have trouble putting the words down and expressing myself the way I want it to express myself, you know? Indeed, it would be one thing if Lady Murasaki were supervising my efforts, but given her current incapacitation, my hands are firmly tied. Even if she did have notes or unfinished script to peruse, there is every possibility that the whole affair may drastically change drastically by final revision. There you see, we're shit out of luck. The only thing we can do now is wait for Sleeping Beauty there to wake up. I swear this is a whole problem with popular writers. They don't even know how to take care of themselves. I see, I guess it makes sense that a famous author would be a little reluctant to take over a famous author's work. But man, now what are we gonna do? I guess we'll just have to give up from the Singularity's magical energy. Maybe, maybe not. In spite of everything we just said, I do get the sense the story is well on its way. Between the background exposition, character introduction to this latest shocking event, I'd say all the pieces in place are for an interesting story indeed. But you're still not gonna write the rest, are you? Indeed not. We have no wish to incur the noble lady's ire, after all. Something funny about the author of the next series in the third volume of the Genesis Testament, he made a small joke. However, if we were to cast the task we take for their characters themselves, I suspect she'd be willing to accept that. What do you say, everyone? Would you be willing to continue playing your parts and see where this story goes from there? What kind of joke did he make? Huh? I didn't consider that approach. Instead of outsiders like us taking over, we have the casket theme on the spirit they inherited from the director. Yes, I doubt Murasaki would have anything to cry about in that case. Brilliant, William. Truly cunning. You've got a mention with a lot of history, a beautiful widow who inherited fortune, and a bizarre assortment of guests. It's a damn near perfect setting for a mystery. Off the top of my head, you could call it something like a Meihousou most foul. In other words, you're the lead actors now. He insulted the isekai genre. Oh, man. How so? Hey, Zipsix, how about a little reality check, eh? We aren't actually actors, you morons. How about you, Professor? Perhaps you could make yourself useful for a change. Problem is, I would never come up with such a slapdash scheme, for my schemes have been wrapped up nicely before anyone knows something is amiss. While the idea of writing a mystery based off one of Sir Moriarty's criminal plots does sound appealing, I'm afraid I'll need to give it a pass this time. When writing a mystery, you begin with the end and work backwards. Every character introduced must have a purpose, and everything should be wrapped up neatly in the end. Conversely, such stories tend to not be particularly dynamic. But if everything fits together too neatly, the story starts to feel robotic. Ideally, you want the characters to ignore the writer's carefully laid plot entirely and start going about their own affairs. Don't worry, as long as you all commit yourselves to your parts, the rest of the story will basically write itself. I can guarantee it'll be an absolute train wreck, but at least you'll get it all done. I think even that might be giving us too much credit. Like John said, none of us even acted before. You guys have a mirror there? Yes? Then spend a good hour and take a look at yourself. Listen to me. Every last one of you is already a character. You're all famous enough to be engraved onto history itself. You're inherently interesting just by your very existence. As long as you're all seriously committed to your parts, the end result can't help but be compelling drama. Yes, indeed. If nothing else, it'll be compelling. And even if it wasn't, well, that's alright too. Everyone should experience abject failures once or twice. Been there, done that. Thanks for reminding me, prick. So long story short, you're gonna keep filming, right? Well, I did say that at worst we could always make a documentary, and it's definitely not like we expected everything to go smoothly. I'll have to ask Mash to focus on looking after Murasaki, but for the rest of you, Jean, Ramos, Salazar, Tristan, Ozymandias, Arash, Man in Grey, and of course, Soul. I'm counting on all of you to keep an eye on the General, the camera rolling, and do your best to make this as good a movie as possible. Ooh, I just popped my neck. Real nice. Section 5, Improv Theater. There we are. Will you be able to get the wine stain out? I think so, but I couldn't give less of a shit about that right now. How's Gabriella doing? She's still alive, though she's hanging on by a thread, and there's no telling what could happen next. I expect it's going to be some time before she can tell us what happened. So we've got no choice but to be patient until we can find out who did this, huh? I'm not so sure. Even if Gabriella were to regain consciousness right now, I doubt even she could tell us who poisoned her glass. Where'd that come from? It's not like trying to play detective or something. As a matter of fact, I don't play anything. My traveling musician act was actually a facade. Let's try to use Isidoro Pogiolo, the great detective. Oh, he's a detective. Of course he is. And I'm his assistant detective, Adriana Molinari. Would you mind not stepping on my lines, Adriana? I'm sorry. You're Detective Isidoro Pogioli, huh? Never heard of you. Of course not. Most of my cases come directly from high-ranking government officials, so I can't imagine the common man would know my name. Is there a line of work that requires no self-motion, are you? Well, wouldn't that be nice, Elise? I don't know if I'd buy it. Maybe the higher-ups just using the very facts they don't like. Those who know me sometimes call me the closer. I can understand your adaptation, but I hope you will trust us. A detective, huh? Usually my experience, having a detective around is not bad news, but I guess it's good you're here in this case. But I suppose your client this time must be the old man himself. Right you are, first president, Miguel Angel Cortez, hired me to be here. He said he wanted me to investigate if anything happened after he was gone. I was hoping there would be no need for my services, but alas, it would seem my luck was not on our side. Sometimes I curse the way the cases seem to follow out wherever I go. And it's always kind of scared me how thorough the old man was about this sort of thing. And it's almost like he knew exactly what would happen after he was gone. Mr. Pogioli has an amazing talent for attracting cases wherever he goes. He's also known as the Isidoro the Reaper. Obviously. Yeah, well that's not ominous at all. You there, Salazar, or whatever your name was. Are you sure Miguel never told you anything about this? No, weird. Maybe Lord Miguel never really trusted me after all. Cheer up, Salazar. It's much too early to say that. Thank you, milady. Your kind words are certainly soothing to hear under these circumstances. You're welcome. Anyway, getting back to the question at hand, why would anyone want to harm Gabriella? Seriously? You actually have to ask? Huh? Cortez's legacy? What are you, an idiot? He collected some really amazing shit back when he was a general. It apparently would have been easily kept him in power even if he had to retire. At least that's the rumor I heard at dinner with some high-ranking government officials. So if Gabriella inherited something of that great, it's no wonder someone else would want her out of the picture, right? That's only a rumor, right? What, you don't believe me?
Cortez's legacy is no rumor. Trust me, I used to work under him. I was a medical officer, so I had access to lots of different places. As a result, I was able to gather evidence of wrongdoing on all sorts of people. And of course, the evidence I gathered was only a tiny fraction of the whole. All told, I bet there was dozens of government officials who had their collars slapped on them like that. And it's not just scheming blackmail material either. I bet anything the legacy includes priceless letters and works of art from former kingdom. And I'd also bet that it's all here somewhere in this enormous mansion. Damn, that's quite a story. So if anyone managed to take this legacy for themselves, they'd be Nadine Nadada's next ruler, huh? So this is why Gabriella was poisoned. Still, even if the culprit did succeed at eliminating her, that doesn't mean they would automatically inherit this legacy, right? They might have to. Some people, say high government officials, would happily just have it conveniently disappear. Well, I guess their next move would be to either try and kill Gabriella again, or just kill us all. But if they merely wanted to bury this legacy, it would be much more expedient just to set it all ablaze, especially after we went to bed. Of course, that'll work now that we've got us all on guard, even if they don't plan on doing anything too drastic just yet. Yeah, well, that's not going to be a big help if their next move is just spoils all of our food. Now, considering how Gabriella just collapsed right after she drank the wine that guy brought here. Excuse me. Stop it, Elise. No, it's alright. Lady Elise has every reason to be suspicious. Very well, how about this? After I prepared your meals, I will taste them before starting to make sure they are all safe. So you want to be our food taster? There are any number of ways you can fake that if you wanted to. Sorry about Vargas, he's suspicious about pretty much everything, though of course that helps us a lot when we're out on the hunt. Anyway, if you don't mind, we'd appreciate it if you could just share some non-perishables with us. Of course, if you cannot, we will simply go out and hunt on our own food. Can the non-perishables be poisoned as well? I got checked for poison you. All I gotta do is brush it against my lips with the tip of my tongue. Smell can tell you a lot about something too. Oh, what's the quote then? Actually, something already smells fishy. There's no way the scent can be natural. It's coming from over here. Garcia. We should follow them. There. Okay, that's actually pretty cool. Portrait. It smells like wet paint. I see your nose is as sharp as your tongue, Garcia. I can smell too now that I'm this close. How long has this portrait been here, Salazar? I believe it was completed when Lord Miguel was still with us. Does anything seem different about it to you? I'm afraid I can't tell what it might have been changed. I'm sorry I didn't study it closer when I had the chance. Artists puts their heart and soul into their smallest details of the work, including those most people would never see or appreciate. It's perfectly understandable that you wouldn't be able to notice them at a glance. The important thing to take away from this is that someone altered this painting extremely recently. Though I suppose it's possible the artist simply decided they didn't like some part of how it came out, and decided to fix it. They certainly wouldn't be the first to go back and alter their past work. Now, it's all connected. Paints like cadmium yellow and vermilion contain harmful heavy metals. And while I can't yet be certain, Gabriella's symptoms definitely strike me as someone to have a metal poisoning. I doubt the paint was added directly to her drink, but the culprit could have extracted the heavy metals from it. So you're saying that whoever altered the painting would have possible access to the paint, and that they used it to create the poison. Basically. It's a bit of a stretch, but the logic does hold. Very well. Just to be certain, let me ask you all this. Do any of you currently have any paint? Looks like nobody's volunteering to come forward. Mr. Pogioli, does that mean? Yes, this is definitely one of those cases. I'll cut the drama theatrics and just spit it out. Very well then, if I may be so bold. One of you is a cowardly culprit behind this Meihousou mystery. The portrait painter. The portrait painter. I think the change was that it looked like Murasaki had tears in the painting. That's what it looked like, at least. From the briefest of glances I got. Section 6, Cinema Buildings. Good job, everyone. That was amazing, especially considering none of you have ever acted before. Especially you, Tristan. That last line of yours had my heart absolutely pounding. As any night of the round table could have done the same. Let's just say that performance of that nature are nothing unusual for us. Don't flatter, Mash. Little strapper boy here was just sounding the first thing that bumped into that bird prey of his. Probably. That what you're thinking, saying one of us is the culprit. Now what I'm gonna do if a new character shows up. Well, she speaks the truth, which makes me sad. I didn't merely shout the first thing that came to mind. You never change, Tristan. You never change. Despite your praise, I'm still deeply saddened.
At least we managed to tie everything together. Sorry about that, I just sort of followed my gut without realizing where it was taking me. No, that's given us a clear path to the story's conclusion. All you need to do now is find this portrait painter and bring them to justice. I'm afraid there's still something lacking. We need to turn up the heat, so to speak. So Magic Circle appears under this wondering guy, and he says something along the lines of, it's finally my time. I'll be transported to another world, or die and be reincarnated to another world. So I want to be in a world filled with beautiful elf girls, and you don't remember the rest. That's fine, man. That's fine. That's already a pretty good start to, like, a jab at the isekai genre. I can already tell that would be a good jab for it. What do you mean? The mystery has indeed been unveiled, and I agree with that. The story's plot is now a clear direction, but the audience still doesn't know who your characters truly are. Did Lady Murasaki not go over their backgrounds with you? I didn't. Seriously? I've heard of playing it close to the chest, but this is just ridiculous. It's a shame she didn't make a chart or something with all sort of characters' histories. You don't have an RZ inserted either, and there hasn't been any monologues or forcing any of the characters' inner motives. It's not a transportation circle. Is it Truck-kun? Oh, it's Magic Mirror Science, so it's not Truck-kun. If you keep this up, you may as well just be a bunch of marionettes going with whichever way the current scene's string's pulling you. You have mince words, do you? Which is why for the next scene, we would like you to invent some reason your characters go off on their own. I know, maybe something like, I'm not going to stand around here waiting for the killer to stab me in the back. I'm going back to my room. Would that work? You are. MASH is just having fun. I love that. That would certainly be one natural reaction, but regrettably it would also leave little room for further developments. An extreme fear can neither fight nor fly, but a coward like with trembling terror die. What I've seen of your performances thus far, none of you are playing characters sufficiently cowardly to take this route. For example, what do you think your character would do next, Sir Salieri? Who cares? What's going on? Why am I doing here, Mozart? And of course, Marie calms him down. Right, I don't think I have a very firm grasp on Antonio's character, but I think if I were innocent, I would try to foil the culprit's plot in order to further my own goals. And if I were the culprit, I'm certain I would only pretend to cooperate with everyone else while I plotted my next move. Especially since I still haven't accomplished my goal of murdering Gabriella. Either way, simply hiding in my room would not be an option. What a coincidence, Uncle. I was just thinking the same thing. Please don't ever call me that again when we're not filming. I don't know, I kind of like that kind of family relation a little bit. I beg to differ. On the stage or set in this case, there's nothing wrong with staying in the headspace of one's character. Now I see, even if we don't know who the culprit is, the most natural thing to do here would be to try and suss one another out without arousing suspicion. Exactly, that sort of push and pull is what gives a good ensemble story its chemistry. That is what people usually mean when they say good characters write themselves, though of course, if you don't write yourselves here, there will be no story at all, really. Unfortunately, given my amnesia, I don't know if I'm capable of coming up with something clever to say. What if the topic were Lady Mash? I guess I could gush about her eye. I will burn you, bitch. Yeah, I feel like I heard someone really stupid conversation about that once. At any rate, I encourage you all to continue getting into your characters' heads. For that is the only way we have left with which we can properly repair the singularity. Was this all Murasaki's plan, I wonder? There's only one thing I still do not understand. Why are you and I pretending to be lowly hunters? Good question. If you're the kingdom's former prince and I'm your tenant, what if it were because we both wanted criminals with bounties on our heads? That way we'd have to have just survival around the run. Me a fugitive? What an amusing idea. You're a little too proud to hide, dude. Okay then, what if as the former prince, you were secretly going around trying to make your country a better place? They say land outlasts kingdoms, right? Your old nation may be gone, but its people are still living in their lives. You could be here trying to ensure their welfare, and I could be your partner. What do you think of that? But in often, not bad. Huh, traveling my land to make it a better place is a much more amusing idea than being a fugitive. Very well, then let the filming recommence. Come, Garcia. You got it. Oh, this is I'm really enjoying this event. Down another dead end. I was hoping she'd at least left another note or two lying behind. Then again, that's probably too much hope for seeing that she didn't have time to write a script. Apparently she barely had 3 hours to put something together after Roman asked her to help. Even for rush production, that's just absurd. Thought I might find you here. Sherlock Holmes, you sure work hard for a guy who didn't so much as set foot in the London Singularity. Well, this is all quite elementary to me, Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson. Okay, now I can't help but think of Sherlock's voice as Mr. Smith. Agent Smith. Knowing how much you respect Miss Murasaki's wishes, it was hardly a leap to imagine you would try to find a clue as to what it might have been. Well, you're right, Mr. Detective. Unfortunately, I have no luck with that so far. Maybe it doesn't matter anymore now that the actors have taken things into their own hands, but I still wanted to at least find a hint to the ending she had in mind. I see, in other words, you don't want to see Miss Murasaki's first movie go down in flames, as it were. We're trying to secure more resources for Chaldea, remember? This isn't all fun and games. Yes, of course, but I suspect you still have a hypothesis of it to divulge, Mr. Anderson. Earlier you suggested the story might be, well, concluded in a train wreck of sorts. That sounds to me as though you already have an idea of where it's going. If you don't mind sharing, I would like to ask for your opinion as a writer. Regarding what sort of story you think Murasaki was trying to sell. Damn, I guess I did say that, didn't I? Well, what I meant was, with a cast like that, someone's bound to end up dead by the end. Though whether that will be a comical or tragic is still sort of up in the air. Alright, if you want to know what I think, I'll tell you. Just keep in mind that this is strictly my personal opinion. Writers always juggling around 10 or 20 ideas in their minds, even if they don't always get around to writing all or even most of them. True! Well, 10 or 20 might be giving some writers too much credit, but in Murasaki's case, I'm pretty sure she had more than her fair share. I see, and you think she used one of these ideas for this movie's script. Given how urgent and unexpected the request was, it would only make sense that she would use an idea she had already had been kicking around. But there were also a lot of constraints, a limited pool of actors, her lack of experience with writing screenplays, and very limited time to film. I guess half of her premise is just something she had already had floating around her mind, and the other half is just stuff she had to come up with to make it work. Oh man, poor... Again, Anderson would be rolling in his grave. Though I do get the impression that she used up all her energy on the setting and the cast. At any rate, I think she knew how she wanted this story to end, but she hadn't yet figured out how to get there. It sounds like you already have a solid grasp of what she had in mind. I have my theories, but they're all just speculation. That's why I was hoping I could find some sort of hint. Then I suggest we try a different approach. Oh, does that mean you have an idea of your own as to where we can find a clue? As a matter of fact, I've been thinking about that portrait. I thought that was just a portrait of Moriarty and Murasaki that was altered. Remember how Garcia said he smelled wet paint from it during the last recording? That struck me as the most unusual thing to say, even for an improvised line. Wet paint. That's it. It was Hokusai. Precisely. Miss Murasaki must have asked Miss Hokusai to paint the portrait for use as a prop. True, an artist as good as Hokusai would probably be able to throw a painting like that together faster than most people could open an image editor. True enough. But I guess there wasn't enough time for the paint to dry before they had to start filming. Wait, you're not suggesting we sent Hokusai over there to paint this portrait painter, are you? No, I merely wanted to talk to her, though of course she may be a more concerned state than Miss Murasaki here, given the hours she keeps. Well, I've got a bad feeling about this. Alright, let's go to that filthy room she calls an atelier. Oh, poor Oi. I'm really hoping that the summer event bumps Oi up on the waifu rankings. Man, Toto-sama, I never thought I'd get so much praise for just painting a picture of a pretty lady and a handsome guy. This Chaldea place is pretty nice. There's a lot more to oil painting than I realized. Maybe I'll try painting another one like that while I'm at it. Oh crap, I just can't sit. I can't. Just standing in front of the canvas is making me dizzy. Maybe I've been working myself a little too hard lately. Say, that's the medicine Murasaki left here. I think she said it relieves your exhaustion in a jiffy. Sounds like just what the doctor ordered. Oh no. Huh, we're too late. Huh? What are you two doing? Don't tell me you guys want to portrait Keon's parent and child too. The only sort of picture I'd ever ask you to paint would be a cover illustration for one of my children's stories. Alright, we don't have time for this crap right now. Hurry up, Holmes. I assure you have every intention of doing so. If you don't mind, Miss Hokusai, there's something I wish to ask you about the portrait you painted recently. Well, that came out looking awfully good, didn't it? Getting to feast my eyes on a handsome guy on beef fillet like this is one of the very best parts of my work. I guess your skill was never in question, but it's clear for all to see that your work is eminently professional. However, I was curious if Miss Murasaki made any unusual requests of you when she commissioned the piece. For example, were there any parts she asked you to redo? Something she asked me to redo? Now that you mention it, she did say that my first draft made him look too much like a couple. So I had to fix that aspect up a little. I'm getting real sleepy all of a sudden. Hey, don't fall asleep yet. We're still talking to you. Damn, I guess that means we're all out of here. Well, there's nothing we can do about that now. Besides, we did learn a few interesting tidbits. You're really enjoying this, aren't you, Holmes? Is that how it seems to you? I suppose this particular case does make for a nice change of pace. After all, once I become involved in a case, it's only a matter of time until it's solved, however inscrutable it may appear at first blush. It's the fact that you're working on a case that isn't even really a case at this point only makes it much more interesting for you, huh? I guess even detectives have their specialties, but whatever. Let's head back to the command room, Holmes. I'm worried about how things are going on set. There's no way Soul will be able to handle everything on his own. Now with the cast of actors whose heads are so far up their asses they haven't seen daylight in years. Oh, that describes so many of them. Holmes' older brother. Sherlock Holmes has an older brother? Section 7, the Melancholy Assassin. He's a better detective that hates detective works. Really? How come I've never heard of this older brother? What's this place? It smells all mildewy. Looks like an archive. This must be part of Cortez's legacy. What do you mean? As much as those pretending to sainthood in the current government might like to think otherwise, there were a lot of people looting everything they could to get their hands on the chaos 10 years ago. The worst of it all was Cortez, right? I mean, he basically looted the whole country. Very true, but while the others were all focused on their immediate gratification, Cortez was methodically collecting evidence of their crimes to use in the future. Excuse me. That isn't to say he collected everything, of course. But he didn't need to, as long as he could make the government officials believe he had all kinds of dirt on those in high society. Isn't that right, Roma? I'd rather not get into all the lurid details here, but yes, you're essentially correct. I doubt he could have become the first president or have his new government cabinets be approved as smoothly as they were, without some rather shady dealings behind the scenes. Cortez trusted you, right? Why didn't you stay in the new government and enjoy all the perks? I know all too well how Cortez operated. If I had stayed, it would only been a matter of time before I became trapped in his web. Besides, he never let his guard down around anyone, so I could never tell what he was really thinking. People like that scare me. Mycroft Holmes. That does sound familiar now that you mention it. Saying I resigned paints it in a nice light, but really all I did was run away from him. Maybe there's something in this room that can tell us what's going on here. And when I say this, us, I mean you, because I'm sure as hell not going to read all this crap. I doubt there's anything valuable in this room, seeing as how it wasn't even locked. Doesn't look like there's any secret doors or anything either. Boring. Well, you said your name was Elise, right? Yes? If you don't mind me asking, do you happen to have an older brother? Yeah, I'm mine. Why the hell would you need to know about my family? I'm sorry, just forget I said anything. It's an old habit of mine asking young women that question. Elise is an only child to my understanding. What's more, she's been performing since before her 10th birthday. Well, you didn't have to tell him that. While we're on the topic, Elise and I are not technically uncle and niece. We are far more distantly related. When I stopped being the court musician 10 years ago, I knew I would have to fend more for myself from then on. So I saw a singing voice like Elise, and she in turn sought music like mine. He's the government. Okay. Okay, so the only bit of Sherlock Holmes media, like, I've actually watched is some of the BBC Sherlock Holmes during Benedict Cumberbatch. And I don't remember when the last bit of it I saw was, but Mycroft Holmes does sound familiar with that. Is that partnership of ours that helped us get where we are today? Why don't you tell me our entire life story while you're at it? You know this guy could very well be our killer, well, attempted killer. In that case, I think it's only right I tell you a little more about myself. Truth is, I've been trying to track down the Kingdom of Nada's legendary assassin, a man named Daizo-uka. I remember him. He was feared far and wide, despite being no more than a lone soldier. I can still feel the chills that ran down my spine whenever I passed him. The sheer bloodlust he radiated was palpable. If he's that strong, he's probably not doing fine for himself. I doubt it. He never struck me as cut out for the normal life. Besides, I can't imagine a man who can cut down other people for money would have an easy time going back to life in normal society. Unfortunately, I've heard nothing about him the past 10 years. And I have no doubt people would be talking about him if he had done anything noteworthy. People love talking about stuff like that. There's no stopping it. That's exactly why it's so strange. I can't imagine an assassin of that caliber being taken down easily, especially when he had a younger sister to protect. Now we have another mystery on our hands. Where did the fierce assassin to ever live disappear to? In the line of work, you know, he'd be the first person to be cut loose the moment it became inconvenient to keep him around. If his bosses decided they didn't want him around anymore, he'd be gone no matter how good he was. What's this? Find something. This might just be what I've been looking for. I'll study it some more and see what I can find out. Come on, let's head back. So I have a brilliant idea. Really? What is it? What if we made Salazar here, and this Daiso person one and the same? His face was covered up. Fortunately, we never saw Daiso's face during the prologue. Now, you can make use of that here. Daiso was the assassin who worked for General Tan, right? He would never admit defeat, no matter how much things turned against him. What would you do if you were him? Well, I don't think I'm exactly the sort of person who can cut down his foes as easily as breathing, but... wrong. You are already Daiso. From now on, you'll think as he thinks and speak as he speaks. Spoken like a true pharaoh. Well, I might try to kill as many enemies as possible, even if I knew it was ultimately pointless. But there's only so much one person can do, so I probably suffered a grave injury. And though I managed to survive the attack, I ended up losing my memory. How does that sound? Very good. Your memories may be gone, but your body still remembers its deadly fighting techniques. Thus, Miguel kept you around to turn you into his personal bodyguard. So I used to be an assassin. Yes, I'm starting to believe it. That's right, I was the King Nadi Nada's great assassin. Of course I would try to assassinate anyone who even vaguely seems like an enemy of the royal family. So I poisoned the wine glass because I guess I just wanted to kill someone? But are you an assassin? Is that all you think assassins care about? I'm sorry. I'm doing my best to come up with a plausible motive as we speak. At any rate, as an assassin, I am sworn to serve the king in my dying breath. But my efforts backfired and I almost inadvertently killed my master. Perfect. Now I have painful intermittent flashbacks of my failed assassination attempt. So I impulsively think about performing new assassinations in order to escape that pain. Sound like that ought to work. Feels like everything's starting to come together. Seems kind of contrived for me, but whatever. I can live with it at this point. Oh, but if we go this route, then you'll be playing a pretty bad guy. Are you okay with that? I think that even with my memory gone, the battle against the revolutionaries still rages on inside me. So now whenever something happens to stir up my past impulses, I can't help but want to kill anyone I consider a threat to the kingdom. Well, that way we can have Gabriella's poisoning be one of your attempts to kill someone. I see. Then as the last Prince of Nadi Nada, I will take it upon myself to put this poor faithful retainer to rest. After a pulse-pounding fight scene, Vargas will defeat Salazar and praise him for his faithful service as he passes away in his arms. Then after Gabriella wakes up, Vargas will confide his true identity to her and set back off this trip to make the former nation a better place. It all makes sense. This will work nicely. Then it would seem we finally found out the outline for our plot. Or let us proceed with the story, unless there's any other cast members who wish to object. I think that sounds very good. Yeah, whatever. Don't love it, but don't we have anything better to offer? Well, I guess that means our scene will be the last one, then. I don't know if I like the idea of me and Vera ganging up on Salazar. I guess, good point. Very well, then perhaps you could think of a way around that. What if Garcia stayed behind to protect Gabriella, while Vargas and Salazar went to the storehouse to get some medicine? Then he could have a painful assassination flashback that spurs him to attack Vargas while they're alone. I see, that could lead to very naturally to their climactic fight scene. In that case, we'd probably want something in the storehouse triggers of memory to make it more convincing. Hardly agreed. It would only be more confusing to the audience if he simply had a flashback out of nowhere. If he's lost his memory from when the battle, then perhaps something that symbolizes war would suffice. What about the sound of a cannon? I mean, at least I know Izo and I would instinctually react to that. Why would there be a cannon in the storehouse? Why would they even hear a cannon going off in what's basically a big-ass medicine cabinet? Is Little Miss Holier Than Thou or something around? I know she would think twice about firing a cannon in a storehouse. True, she wouldn't. On second thought, never mind. Having her show up now would only make things more confusing. Yeah, she can be a little reckless at times. That's putting it mildly. No, we definitely don't want her getting mixed up in this mess. Especially she sees her rival as her older sister. Has she been brainwashed or something? Just a little bit, Tristan. Just a little bit. What about this? One of them could accidentally knock over a bottle while they're looking for the medicine. The bottle happens to contain some dangerous chemicals, so when it hits the ground, it explodes. The explosion sounds just like a cannon shell, which triggers Salazar's flashback. I know it's kind of a stretch, but yeah, no way that's gonna... he's brilliant, the lady with the beautiful bangs. Might be a stretch, but it's also innovative and clear to the audience. I'd be glad to handle the bottle jumping as well. In fact, I wouldn't even mind being the bottle. Please, someone calm him down. Very well, then I will do my best and strum. Sorry about that, I'm calm now. It looks like he just came down from a mountain after reaching enlightenment. Very well, then we shall require the sound of a cannon blast. Find it. Will do, I'll send you the audio data from the library as soon as I track it down. Would you prefer Orleans cannon sound effect or North American cannon sound effect? Definitely not Orleans cannon. That don't do anything good for my mood. No? What's the no for, J6? By the way, are you going to be able to be on Minecraft server tomorrow, or no? We need sound effects for machine guns and missiles. No? Alright, just thought I'd ask. Well, no time like the present. Let's film the scene as soon as everyone's ready. He's just agreeing to it because Mash suggested it. True enough. True enough. And I mean, while I might somewhat agree with that sentiment of agreeing because Mash suggested it, I can think of some more natural possible ways, you know? Like, if there is this Cortez's legacy, rather than it being something like that, have the other group that is currently trying to investigate to find this painter person or whatever accidentally set off some sort of booby trap that causes an explosion sound, which triggers the flashback, you know? Just thinking off the top of my head. Okay, we can start the scene in Gabriella's room. What is this feeling? Does this mean I want to be the lead actor? I get that they want to do this so that everything ties together, but Salazar and Izo are almost nothing alike. This is good. I need to be more proactive detective. Yes, a scene with Mash and Tristan trying to find a lead, possibly throw somebody else in there as well. They discover some sort of secret. And there's trigger a booby trap that causes an explosion. Yeah. Ready and action. I almost forgot. The doctor said I should get some medicine to give Gabriella. Would you mind showing me where the medicine is kept, Salazar? I'll be happy to check the storehouse myself. No, we should go together just to be safe. No one should go No one should go anywhere alone. I see. Alright, if you insist. I think Remy had that all figured out, and if only Oryu was here. Oh, she would make this so much more humorous. Don't misunderstand. This isn't because I suspect you. It's simply better for both of us to have witness present. If we go together and anything happens to one of the us, the other will come under suspicion. Besides, if Lady Gabriella's condition should worsen because of my medicine, my position here will become extremely precarious. I apologize for my rudeness. Alright, let's be on our way. Be careful out there, you two. There's no telling what you might run into. This place seems much bigger than it needs to be. That's partly because there's also an emergency shelter here. One never knows when one might need it. Be prepared for anything here. We have food and medicine like an ample supply. I see. So where's this medicine we need? I think it was on this shelf. Oops. That does not mesh well in my head. Silza, what's wrong? I just remembered. Yeah, it so sounds wrong. It sounds so very wrong. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch the tiger by the toe. If he hollers, let him go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. And Gil with Wava. Waver with his bond CE, I suppose, will be fine. Again, I gotta go through all my CEs and sort them out, because it's a mess. There we go. This will work. Melt instead of sky. There we go. Where's the lunchtime? And tea time. Now we can go. A Meihousou most foul. Section 8, at the end of memory. This place seems much bigger than it needs to be. It's probably because there's also... Oh, you already read this. There goes the bottle. Now. Again, that does not match up. Perfect timing. It does not match up. Head. Salazar, what's wrong? I just remembered. Does Salazar now go into assassin mode? Something's not right? Are you alright, Salazar? That's not my name. How dare you? Truly riveting performance. I do think he's taking it a bit too far. It's as though he actually lost his mind. Method actors. Method actors. For his mind, he's lost his freaking humanity, can't you tell? The servant spirit origin is falling apart like a house of cards. He's practically a goddamn vengeful spirit now. Why, that won't do at all. Then it's time this great detective brought this case to a close. That's still my scene. Leave him to me. All you need to concern yourself with is capturing my glorious combat prowess on film. This great detective needs to. Sorry, Bird Brain. You snooze, you lose. I'm gonna see how this goes. Like to punch his face and get roasted alive. Or dead. Whatever. How very sad. Oh, this is hilarious. They're trying to fight for who gets to fight him. Oh, this is great. I'm really enjoying this event, this little story. It's not as mysterious as the murder at Kogetsuken, but it's still pretty good. Oh, it's Jalter! It's a weak Jalter! Holy cow, level 50! That's kind of low level there, Jalter. Just a little low level there, man. You know, at least we get her NP. I'm sorry, what sounds wrong? Also, you never answered if you're gonna be able to do the Minecraft server tomorrow or not. Oh, the cannon? Yep. It did indeed and did indeed. Good overkill. Salazar was an undead! Gasp. I never would have guessed. Salazar, snap out of it already. My apologies, I don't know what came over me. What the hell, Salazar? You tuned into goddamn monster? What gives? Ixnay on the monster, May. So you finally settled down. Good. I'm surprised that cannon sound affected you so dramatically. You must have been through something exceptionally traumatic. You could say that. It was a cannon blast that killed me. At least now I can finally introduce myself properly. My name is Bartholomew. Bartholomew Roberts. I'm a famous pirate. I never would have guessed it, since you're so different from the other pirates we know. I'm delighted to hear a lady with such beautiful and nice... I'll burn you, bastard! Hold up, we could have figured this out much sooner if we'd only had Blackbeard to take a look. Oh well. I recall Sir Blackbeard saying he doesn't look at other guys' faces closely enough to tell them apart. Oh, so the old bastard still is there too, huh? I know even as I say it how unlikely it is, but I hope he hasn't been causing you too much trouble. On behalf of pirates and dashing men everywhere, I apologize for his entire existence. It would be one thing if times were peaceful, but under the current circumstances, at any rate, there is nothing we can do about it now. He goes bye-bye! Bartholomew, looks like you're... Please don't worry your beautiful head about me, milady. This dashing man was fated to disappear along with the singularity anyway. Even now he's trying to sell us on how dashing he is. Maybe that sort of blessing is what I've been lacking. My spirit origin has always been like an ember on the verge of flickering out. I just happened to exhaust what little I had left in that battle. I personally don't think Blackbeard is that bad of a guy as others try to make him out to be. He was a bro for Servant Fest, you know? Blackbeard was a bro, you know? So, Blackbeard's cool. Hey, Draconic! Welcome to the stream, and thank you for the raid of 4. Welcome, raid from Draconic. Welcome. Going through this, Meihousou Most Foul event. It is quite fun, I have to admit. It's not as intriguing as the murder of the Kogetsuken, but I'm still having fun with it. There's no need for you to concern yourself, Master. This is where we part ways. It was enjoyable while it lasted, Bartholomew. Master, I can't tell you how grateful I am for you to give me a new role to play when I had nothing to look forward to but disappearing. I'm sorry my leaving you like this will only make things harder for you. Forgive me for leaving in the middle of all this.
Bartholomew!
By the way, about that lovely lady with the beautiful bangs. Yes, there is much more to Mash than her bangs. I'm sorry for being so crude. I wish I could stick around to see this film completed, so if anything, I really regret not being able to do so. If I ever see you again, I hope you'll show it to me. Well, farewell, everyone. Farewell, beautiful lady with the hidden eyes. Stop complimenting my Meihousou! I'm going to roll for him extra times just so I can burn him when he comes out at this rate. Bartholomew? What is his obsession with thine eyes? We get it anyways. Yes! What is his obsession with that? Don't spoil who you can vote for, please! I don't know what the context of the voting is! Yeah, I'm not sure what his obsession with your hidden eye is either. Yeah, he's me. Maybe that's just his fetish. People are into different stuff, I guess. I see. Won't worry about it if I remash, but you really should brush up on this shit soul. Especially before Mr. God's gift of the woman shows up for real. Now that you've formed a connection with him, he's bound to come back sooner or later. Nothing wrong with glasses. Anyway, what do we do? Good question. I'm not sure there's anything we can do now that he's disappeared. This is indeed quite a pickle. I'm sure we managed to record Salazar losing his mind and attacking Vargas. If we did it well enough... Unfortunately, I'm not sure that will be sufficient. There is no way to film the story we originally envisioned without a scene where Salazar reveals his true identity and motive. At best, it would just be a muddled mess for our audience. What should we do about the last half of the scene where he turns into a vengeful spirit? Something symbolism, I guess? something symbolism, I guess, you know? Something symbolism. That seems to be where most, English class teachers go with whenever they are talking about a book. Something, it symbolizes something. Very well then, we shall just have to come up with a different climax. If it only were that easy. We already filmed that scene with Salazar and Vargas going to look for medicine in the storehouse. With 2 people going in and only 1 coming out, it would only stand to reason that Vargas killed Salazar. What was that? Well, technically I suppose Vargas did kill him. We could always just leave that scene out, of course, but that presents us with other problems. Alright, it'd be very strange for Salazar to suddenly turn up dead or just disappear from the film. However, we do have a scene where Salazar and Vargas hit each other at the same time. If we made it so that Salazar inflicted a fatal wound on Vargas, and Vargas summoned up the last of his strength to take Salazar down with him, resulting in both of their deaths, I think that might give us the most options for continuing the story naturally. How does that sound? Interesting, so my choices are becoming the villain or exit the movie for good. And this is a pickle. Well, logically, both Vargas and Salazar would have to die here. Unfortunately, there's no time for any reshoots. We'll simply have to use the footage we already have. Right, Murasaki doesn't seem likely to wake up anytime soon, and our top priority is to finish the movie, so... I never considered that my role might end up like this. But very well, as Mesh said, finishing the movie comes first, so I'll accept Vargas' death. Besides, Isidore and Adriana haven't been getting enough screen time anyways. Examining the crime scene should be a perfect opportunity for them. We should be able to fake Salazar's corpse with the mannequin and leftover outfit from the dressing room. Oh, as for Vargas, you can simply lay on the floor and pretend to be dead, Pharaoh. I think my final scene involved my playing dead body. Amusing, this is most amusing. It seems nothing ever quite goes as planned as in the making of the movie. What should we say when they're examining the bodies? not coming up with anything. You interested in there should figure something out while we get ready to shoot. We can save the reason that Salazar turned on Vargas for the conclusion. At worst, we can always chuck it up to somehow being the true culprit's doing. Your character's dead, man. As long as it doesn't turn out Miguel was actually alive the whole time, I can get away with saying whatever I want. True enough, you can. You probably should have kept your mouth shut on that one. You just shot yourself in the foot. No, things could work out so that you end up getting blamed for all the crimes. At any rate, we need to get back to filming. Come now, everyone. Let's do our best to finish strong. I really am having fun with this. I can't wait to see what the different choice things are. What was that? Whatever it was really loud. Thank goodness you're all right here, at least. Come quick. We found Vargas in Salazar's storehouse, dead. Vargas is dead in a way. We should go see ourselves. We can grieve your friend afterward. I like little cuts. Vargas, this can't be happening. They're both dead. It looks like they killed each other. Which one of them attacked first? Vargas would never ambush anyone. Looks like you're right. Vargas bled out from a wound on his back. Salazar must have attacked him from behind. Probably meant to kill Vargas with one strike and hide the body somewhere. But he obviously failed, leaving Vargas with just enough strength to strike back. Who could have taken Vargas down in a fair fight, not even if there was 3 against 1? He must have known he wasn't going to make it, so he made sure to take Salazar down with him. Jeez, Arash, giving Ozzy some credit, man. Looks like they knocked over a bottle of volatile chemicals during the fight. That was almost certainly because of the explosion we heard. Salazar must have already known he couldn't talk his way out of it. We could have interrogated them and gotten to the bottom of this a lot faster than just one of them had survived. What's wrong, Detective? You haven't said a word. He has stage fright. Oh, Mash making up lines on the spot. Mr. Togioli is also known as Isidoro the Sleeper because he always gets very quiet when he's considering evidence. It's true, even as we speak, my mind is evaluating all possibilities at a dizzying pace. Did you say you were known as Isidoro the Reaper before? Hypnos and Thanatos are said to be brothers, thus my Sleeper and Reaper personas are 2 sides of the same coin. However, just stop bragging and tell us what you figured out already. I can't, not when the culprit is listening. Oh, then you're saying one of us is the culprit. I will leave that to your imagination. For now, all I can say is this. There is no case so inscrutable that I, Isidoro Porigoli, cannot solve it. May you sit back and rest assured that I have matters well in hand. They do say every good story needs surprises, but usually a story is more than just a series of plot twists and shocks. Just a little bit. Now, if only Sir Bartholomew hadn't disappeared. Good grief, it looks like we might just have to come up with an ending for this story after all. Well, then we better stock up on pens and paper while we have the chance. Quite honestly, I'd much prefer that the cast arrive at an actual conclusion themselves. Holmes, there's something that's been nagging at me for a while now. And what might that be? Instead of going to Hokusai about the painting, wouldn't it have been better to start by asking Moriarty? I beg your pardon. Like you said yourself, Murasaki's condition was an unfortunate accident. So since Moriarty didn't do anything wrong this time, you could just as easily have asked him since he had to have been there too. I know you two are mortal enemies and everything, but in this specific instance, I don't think he has anything to hide. Were that the case, he should have brought up the portrait before we thought to investigate it. True, if he wanted filming to go smoothly, he should have mentioned the portrait being redone the first chance he got. I don't care for the way he holds information while snidely waiting to see what the rest of us do without it. Even if I called him out on it, he'd just claim it slipped his mind, and that would be that. I get how you feel, Holmes, but that still doesn't explain why you didn't ask him. Fair enough, I don't know if this will convince you, but here it is. I'm a detective, so I believe I have an obligation to solve any mystery I come across. Don't know where that came from, but okay. I doubt there's any mystery you couldn't solve, but never mind that. However, there's a phrase that takes place while learning about the mystery I'm about to solve. A phase where I examine all facts closely, free of preconceptions, and try to notice anything that seems out of place. In meticulously questioning everything, the relevant facts come to light, and the mystery reveals itself. So you're saying your approach revolves around the careful examination and questioning what you observe. Right, but on the flip side, it also means that one cannot engage with a case without examination and... excuse me. Without such examination and attendant suspicion. And when it comes to preventing a detective from seeing matters clearly, and therefore suspecting them, there is no criminal more devious than James Moriarty. Wait, really? How does that work with them? How does that work when him just being around makes anyone naturally suspicious? There's such a thing as being too suspicious, you see, makes it more difficult to determine how much one should suspect other things, ultimately making it impossible to focus on the proper issue in the case. I am certain the whole reason he was able to rule the underworld for so long is because he made sure to never be anywhere that would arouse suspicion. In 19th century London, he would dispense his criminal schemes to others while erasing all trace of his presence from their surroundings. He ruled his network like a spider waiting in the middle of its web, all the while remaining completely out of sight. If nothing else was an impressive feat, it even took me some time before my certain suspicions were correct. Not to mention a painful sacrifice. His presence was really that invisible, huh? It would be easy to interrogate him right now, but in doing so, I would also be showing my hand to my own method of thinking and questioning. Given that there's no telling when he and I might be on opposing sides yet, I prefer to give him as few opportunities as possible to learn how I think. So if I'm going to investigate a case he's involved in, my only choice is to discover the core mystery while remaining hands-off as I can. So he doesn't want Moriarty to learn how he thinks, huh? Or maybe not just Moriarty. Never mind. Basically, you're saying it's your examination and suspicion that leads you to see a mystery before you. And if you have neither, then there is no mystery, So you have arguably the world's greatest detective and the Napoleon of crime. Talk about a complicated relationship. Oh, what is it, Mr. Tristan? How can we help you? I was hoping you could tell me something, Sir Holmes. How exactly did a detective, detect? I'm afraid I've arrived at the realization that I have no idea how to be a great detective, only after I went and declared that my character was one. Now I don't know what to do. Oh, poor Tristan. Mashed potatoes and mac and cheese. What sounds like Gawain would be proud to have made. Well, welcome back, Draconic. Welcome back. How have things been for you, by the way? How have things been? I only accepted this role because I thought following Murasaki Shikibu's script would make me look good. But now I'm at a complete loss for words. All I can do is stand around looking like a scarecrow. No, it's even worse than that. At least scarecrows have some use, even if it's only keeping crows at bay. I'm so sad right now. Scarecrow, huh? I'll have to remember that one. That's good. Any resolution to the whole, Walmart truck kerfuffle? This is hardly fun. The way this film's going, my scarecrow impersonation may as well be preserved for posterity forever. I don't even want to think about how Sir Bedivere would pity me if he saw me like that. I see. Very well, Mr. Tristan, I understand your concerns. But to be quite honest, my particular brand of deduction is rather beyond your abilities. That's not just honest, it's brutal. Oh, poor Tristan. Now, don't misunderstand. I'm still prepared to give you advice. All I mean is that all my deductions are ill-suited to puzzles whose solutions are known. I'm not so keen at filling in bits in the middle. It's a matter of aptitude. The guy that has us most likely fired? Probably. I see. Never mind him. That was just his poor attempt at humor. By the way, I know a lot of Walmarts around the nation are doing it. How's your Walmart taking the new mask mandate stuff? I assure you I'm quite serious. Now then, Mr. Tristan, what sort of deductions would you like to make? I'd like them to make everyone go, of course. Now that'll make sense and admiration. And have them cement me as Sir Tristan the smartest and most handsome knight of the Round Table. Nothing too spectacular. Sounds like quite the tall order. For one thing, the Round Table is home to a great many handsome knights. We knights always strive to be best in everything we do. Having minds as sharp as the teeth of Kerbanog is one of many examples. But unfortunately, as I said, I don't know the first thing about playing a detective, so I'm at a loss. Try turning your assumptions on their ear, Mr. Tristan. Decide on what your goal is first, then find a path towards it. What do you mean by that? He means a plot with a foregone conclusion. Once you know how it ends, all you have to do is come up with a story that fits it. Precisely. First decide on the truth you would like to see. The more interesting, the better in this case. Next, find all the clues that support that truth, and then simply set aside any that don't. They should lead you to truths sufficiently compelling for your audience to ignore any loose threads you may have. Of course, it would be a severe problem if the police or district attorney handled investigations this way, but since this is for a movie where there is nothing but entertainment at stake, it should be fine. So you just need to bring in your card and get 75 to your next paycheck, and you can stop wearing your mask. You'd having your second shot after at least 10 days. You got it on the 5th, and now's the 17th. Nice! Congrats on that. I got my shot on Friday, and it was not fun. As I said, I pretty much almost passed out 5 minutes after getting the shot, and I spent most of the weekend not having a good time. I see. Thank you, Holmes. That has been a revelation. I know now exactly what I have to do. What's up, J6? Come up with a shocking and compelling truth. That explanation will simply follow that. I'm not convinced. I get the feeling he could still inadvertently turn this thriller into a comedy. Oh yeah, you're in Canada, aren't you? I heard they're a lot more strict upon it. Well, if you don't mind me just rattling things off the top of my head, I could share some ideas with you. I appreciate the offer, but as a matter of fact, I just came up with a brilliant idea myself. Is that so? I have my doubts, but alright. It's a dick move to give unsolicited criticism of someone's story. I look forward to seeing what you come up with. Not to worry, I promise I will live up, nay, exceed your expectations. Now that, if you'll excuse me. However this turns out, there is only so much we can do until Miss Murasaki wakes up. From here on, we may as well just sit back and enjoy the show. You're not wrong, but that's a hell of a way to put it. Well, however this turns out, it should be entertaining to the very least. Prefer to preserve a day and location. There's barely anyone at the location. So you're probably going to be waiting for a while afterwards. You managed to end up walking away with a headache and managed to stream about 7 hours that day to bully Barbados. Yeah. After I nearly fainted, they did suggest I take it easy. That's why I didn't stream on Friday. And then all of Saturday, my whole body was just pain. Like, everything hurt. And even still, my shoulder hurts and my throat hurts. Not to worry, I promise I will live up and exceed your expectations. Now then, if you'll excuse me, better tell Master right away. You guys all hear that? Make an announcement during June, but it's not 100% sure. I'm not usually in the habit of eavesdropping, but I simply couldn't help but overhear this case. Hey, it's not our fault he didn't even notice we're here. Anyway, this explains why he's been so quiet during the filming so far. I guess in one sense he was feeling more pressure than any of us. Anyway, I guess that we can just wait for Tristan to present his idea for a conclusion to the Master. In that case, maybe I'll have a little fun myself. I'm glad I happened over here. That might just be able to tie everything together after all. I still need to live up to Queen Marie's expectations, so what would Antonio do? Maybe, just maybe. And now Jalter has an idea as well. Master, I need to talk to you. What's up? I believe I have found a way to bring this movie to a satisfying conclusion. Just give me, let's say, 30 minutes to collect my thoughts. On second thought, make that an hour, just to be safe. Yes, it's true. You've been stealing my thunder thus far, so I plan to make sure I go out with a bang. Sounds great. I can't wait to see it. Okay, I'll let everyone else know. Alright, time to come up with something that'll blow everyone away. Remember this day, my fellow knights of the round table. Today is the day so Tristan, knightly detective, bursts onto the scene. Oh man, I'm really enjoying Tristan in this event too. He's getting such nice little bits of characterization. He's such a dork. All I have to do now is decide on the culprit before the hour's up. I'm counting on you, future me. Oh man. Oh, Tristan. I haven't seen Tristan this excited in a while. I guess it means we'll be done filming soon. Looks that way. After editing the footage we've got so far, I'd say we got about an hour's worth of movie in the can. So we need to find a way to end this story in about 30 minutes, so no matter how many possibilities we leave on the cutting room floor. At least Sir Tristan looks like he has a good idea up his sleeve. He's a poet at heart, right? So I think he'll come up with something that appeals to the wide audience. You really are enjoying this, aren't you, Romani? Well, of course, I've been monitoring the whole thing on my end, too. I don't think I'm enjoying it quite as much as you, since you're the one actually filming everything. But I've still been having a blast watching the whole production from start to finish. Romani! It's a shame that I haven't been able to see you in action since all the seeing us in action! I figure MASH can fill me in on that side of things once you all get back. No, MASH! No, this is not foreshadowing. I'm not losing MASH again. I'm not losing MASH again. So the things are going now. It might all be smooth sailing. Really? More foreshadowing. Romani. Romani. Why? What do you mean? Do you think the other characters are in danger? Only if Sir Tristan's idea turns out to be something violent. No, I have a different concern. I suspect the rest of the cast might actually be thinking along the same lines as him. From everything I've seen so far, they've all gotten really into their roles. So it's only natural that they'd want their characters to be the star of the show and come out on top. I expect that's true for you too, Mash. Am I wrong? Are you secretly hoping that Soul gets to enjoy the spotlight too? Well, yes, I would like to record Senpai's valiant figure on film for posterity. Oh, Mash. Oh, Mash. You're adorable. Right, so the real work of resolving the singularity is just beginning. So I'm guessing it won't be long now before each actor is picking up their own idea about how the film should end. I'm sure they'll all be interesting in some way. Jean might even try bullying you into going with her ending. But no matter how good they are, we can't use all of them. A movie can only have one ending after all. So as their master, you're the one who's gonna have to choose. There's no right or wrong answer for this movie, and I'm such sure each actor's idea for the ending will have some core truth to it. So I'd like you to think about what sort of movie you want to be filmed before you make the decision. That'll be the answer to the singularity, and I think satisfying the late director's spirit will also help get us a better reward. I'll satisfy your spirit, Romani. I'll satisfy your spirit. We need Merlin in here. Merlin, it's time to enact the Majimari plan. We need to somehow insert Majimari into the script to satisfy Romani's pent-up losses. So Arash's script pitch. So the next couple sections are going to just be their script pitches then. Interesting. So I guess I get to choose which one I like best. Obviously this must be where the voting comes in mind. So it's probably going to be by popular demand. I guess it's going to depend. Ozzy's probably not going to have a script pitch. So it's going to be Arash, Saliri, Jalter, Tristan, Ryoma, maybe Mash? Hey, Master. Can I talk to you for a minute? I got an idea I want to share with you. Where's this coming from? Well, I was just kind of minding my own business when an idea struck me. I know that we can't use the Fair's original idea now that Vargas is dead, but if we just tweak it a little, I think we could still bring it back to life. You know, like a phoenix. You dare take pity on me, so I will burn you to ashes on the spot. But I can see that I need not worry. Very well, say your piece. How do you want to bring Vargas back to life? He was pretty definitively dead in the last scene. Especially since I was the one who pronounced him dead. Oh, I get it. You're saying we make Roma a liar. Oh no, nothing like that. I'm not talking about Vargas himself coming back to life. And Roma wouldn't have any reason to lie. At least I don't think he would. Normally one look with my clairvoyance would reveal how things would play out, but since this is an odd singularity, the usual rules don't apply. Keep forgetting he has a clairvoyance. So what is this idea of yours? It's simple. Suffice to say, I want to honor both you and Murasaki's wishes for the characters. It's nothing exceptional, but I think a lot of people would be willing to accept it. In one sense, unveiling it here for the first time works out perfectly. How much longer do you intend to keep me waiting? Hurry up and get to the point. Sorry about that. Okay then, here's my idea for what it's worth. First off, let me ask you something. Do you remember what Murasaki told you back when she explained our characters to us? Of course, that time that beautiful woman told me. Now I understand. What amusing idea you come up with, Archer. Pharaoh Ozymandias, can I ask what's going on? It would uncouth for me to reveal it. Yes, I see. Yes, if there was a joke in there, I was sure as hell missed it. I remember what Murasaki told us about our characters, too. She said you two were the prince of an old and dying dog kingdom and his attendant. Oh, now I get it. So that's your game. Oh, already figured out, huh? Yep, you got it. Sorry I couldn't come up with anything better. I'm sorry, Rush, but I still don't understand. Could you tell us what you're talking about? Ozzy's the attendant, under Rosh is the prince. You're really kind, aren't you, Missy? Okay, let me try this again. Murasaki told us that we are the prince and his attendant. So I've been playing the attendant, and the Pharaoh's been playing the prince, as you would expect. Right, oh, you mean... I sure do. Now that Vargas is dead, I thought, what if we turn that around? I could be the prince, and the Pharaoh could have been my attendant. It'd be a huge twist. In Meihousou, after barely escaping the attack of the palace, the prince and his attendant worked hand in hand to survive, eventually growing up to be a pair of fine young men. Though they didn't think the prince was a wanted man, they could never be completely sure. So they pretended their relationship was the inverse of the true nature to be better hide the prince's identity. Pretty much. That's okay. Alright, for the moment. Let's see we go with this. How do you explain what happened to Gabriella and Salazar then? Not to mention we still have to fit the portrait painter into all of this. Well, that was just me kind of babbling. We can cut it out. No, don't worry. I've got something in mind for that, too. We can make it so that Salazar always wanted to kill Vargas, and that's why he poisoned the glass. But the result was that Gabriella ended up being the one who took the poisoned glass. When his attempt failed, Salazar tried to take a more direct approach to killing Vargas once they were alone, only to die in the process. Why would Salazar do such a thing? I can't see what his motive could be. That's easy, because he was ordered to. No. But Salazar worked for Gabriella, didn't he? Not only did he fail to kill his target, but he ended up almost killing his master. And on top of all that, he got himself killed when he tried to... Again, pretty poor excuse for an assassin, don't you think? Well, given how he bought when he did, I don't see how we could get around that. Hey, now I'm not so cruel as to make Gabriella out to be the bad guy here. That'd be someone else. Someone you'd never expect. Are you talking about me? Huh? True, I suppose having a detective be the culprit would be quite the surprise. I'm still not ready to play a cool and collected villain. That sounds like a great idea to you, but no, that's not what I had in mind. I'm so embarrassed. Oh, poor Tristan. I noticed this when I was watching the footage. After recording the first scene, Murasaki only told 2 of the actors that their roles were over. Old Man Taijima and Izo. But she never said that to Moriarty. Oh, now I get it. Since Moriarty's part in the movie wasn't over, Murasaki must have been planning to have his character come back, right? So you're saying Miguel was alive all along. Then what gives with the funeral? No, wait, it was Salazar who ran the funeral. And as Miguel's loyal servant, he would surely have no issue having his master fake his death. Sure, I have no idea why Murasaki might have wanted Moriarty's character to stick around. I'm just choosing to believe that she did so because it makes my idea work even better. Perhaps she merely wanted to keep me around as a production assistant. She might have also planned on filming flashback scenes. Either way, I think this is a great idea. That mean the portrait painter is Miguel. Huh, looks like you got me. He does seem pleased. Of course, it's been too long since I got to play the mastermind. Well, maybe not that long at all. Even after he retired, he would still be the nation's newest founding hero, so wouldn't retain his vast influence. But that doesn't mean the Republic of Ndai's political situation was stable. There were surely some factions who saw Miguel not as a hero, but as an obstacle. I see, so the threat of assassination must have always been looming over his head. Miguel is in the portrait, yes. Thus he planned to fake his death to remove himself from the spotlight while continuing to rule behind the scenes through Gabriella. Then the Lost Prince and his attendants suddenly showed up and Meihousou, endangering everything he had planned. Miguel didn't know if they were here by coincidence or seek revenge. Either way, he decided to take care of them before they could discover anything that might truly jeopardize his plans. And that's why Miguel ordered Salazar to kill Vargas, who he thought was the prince. Last part of my idea involves Garcia confronting Miguel directly in his hidden chamber inside the Meihousou. Anyway, that's basically what I've got. What do you think? Well, I guess you could say it's my amateurish attempt at solving this mystery. You're welcome to use it as it is. Punch it up or toss the idea down whole cloth. All of you do decide to go with it. I'll let you film a side of me that I don't usually show anyone. That's interesting. That's an interesting proposal. See, so it's a fine idea, I suppose. However, it sort of loses some of the earlier plot points, I feel. Like the whole Cortez's treasure plot point. That sort of falls away if that's the case, you know? I don't know. A lot adds up, but there's just... it doesn't feel right. I am intrigued at what Arash's hidden side is, though. Section 10, Ryoma's script pitch. Now that Arashi shared his idea, would you mind if I went next? By all means, go right ahead. I'll be the one who decides the real ending. I'll be the one who decides the real ending, no matter who else goes before me. Oh, Tristan. Thanks. Okay, here's what I've got. I've been thinking about why Roma came here and what he hoped to accomplish. Roma used to serve the nation's military and reported directly to Miguel himself. Surely he had plenty of official avenues of success if he chose to pursue them. But instead he chose to leave and practice medicine in a small town, even though he was working on creating a new country have been much more interesting. Good point, it sounds like he must have been sick and tired of war by then. Exactly. So that probably means Roma would never want to see Miguel again if he could help it. Because that would only bring back painful memories for him. That's my guess too, but despite all that, he still chose to attend Miguel's funeral. He must have had some reason for that, and I don't think it had anything to do with money. Given how close he was to Miguel, Roma would almost know about Cortez's legacy more than any other than Miguel himself. Right, and there's more to the legacy than just treasure. It's also packed with all kinds of sensitive documents. I think Roma wanted to find it because he believed it contained the truth about his friend's disappearance. If it turned out his friend was actually living a happy life somewhere else, great. And the more likely event he wasn't, at least he would have someone closure. He couldn't turn the police, since the unstable government still had its hands full maintaining order and developing a new nation. So he decided to slip Gabriella a drug, and take advantage of the ensuring investigation to explore Meihousou and look for Cortez's legacy. So then how did he get the drug into the drink? The question, of course it would be impossible to make sure she just chose the right glass. Especially since, as the host, she would have inevitably end up with the last one. So here's what I'm thinking. Gabrielle is already at the peak of exhaustion despite thanks to being far outside of her comfort zone for so long. The glass wasn't actually poisoned. The wine she drank was just the straw that broke the proverbial camel's back. Roma figured this out after a quick examination and thought of a way to take advantage of her unconsciousness. He pretended to give her an antidote while actually giving her a powerful sedative. Okay, as a doctor, that's something only I could pull off, don't you think? True. Okay. However, Roma didn't account for Salazar going berserk. Does that mean you're not going to have Salazar and Daizo secretly be the same person? Definitely not. Izo lived and died by the sword. It was everything to him. There was no way he wouldn't keep up his training even if he lost all of his memories. I don't have the heart to remember Ryoma that Izo and Daizo are actually the same person. Like Hiroshi said in his own idea, I think we can safely assume Izo's role in this movie is over. There's the berries from with Izo face-to-face after Ryoma. Aww, Ryu is here! That's not that, Ryu, and please don't just pop out of nowhere like that. You scared me. Besides, Izo's not the kind of person who could do something like that. At worst, he could flip out and ruin the whole production. That's just one reason not to bring him back. I still have to justify the presence of the story. When Murasaki first explained my character to me, she said that Roma was a sansei, a third-generation Japanese immigrant. And I'm not alone. The country is home to a relatively large number of people with similar backgrounds. Izo's character's full name was Daiso Oka. Needless to say, that's also a Japanese name. Ronenori's character was named Ryutan. His last name might be Chinese or might have originally been a Japanese name, Tani, changed during immigration. These names might be simple, but they still follow definite rules. Even my character's family name, Kurieshi, has a precedent in real life. Nightfall Stone or something? Pretty much, yes. Anyway, given that our characters were all named to match our ethnicity, why did Murasaki do the same for hers? Yeah, I was wondering why she named her character Gabriella too. So my theory is that Gabriella is actually Daizo's younger sister, and that Miguel changed her name when he took her in. Well, I admit that might be a bit of a stretch. And the audience just have to use their imagination to fill in the gaps, I guess. Okay, here's the thrust of it. We know from the earlier scenes that Roma got his hands on some top-secret documents. I didn't give them much thought during that scene, but I think I've got a good idea for them now. Well, it looks like someone's getting quite accustomed to the improvisation. What if they were a report detailing how Daizo died? It's not as though you had actually read what they said. How could you handle that aspect? Well, I do have one possible scenario in mind. Flashback. I think Daizo's the kind of guy who would go down swinging, making sure to take as many enemies with him as he could. But if he did die in a blaze of glory like that, Irma would have long since heard about it, right? And if he'd already heard about it, he wouldn't have had to come all this way looking for answers. So if he died quietly, that would inevitably mean an incredibly skilled swordsman must have killed him in his secret. And I can only think of one character who fits the bill. I mean, General Tan. From Miguel's perspective, both Tan and Daizo are forced to be reckoned with, who could turn on him at any time. So naturally, he'd want them to take each other out. It seems like it would be much easier said than done. True General Tan didn't seem like anyone's fool, and I doubt he would fight with a good cause. Especially considering who was playing him, I'm not surprised he came up with that impression. So if one of them were to challenge the other, it would be Daizo, and he seems like he'd be a lot easier to manipulate, don't you think? If we filmed it, I imagine that scene would go something like, kill General Tan, and I swear on my life I will see your sister cared for and protected. Then they fight, and they end up killing each other. I see, that does seem like it would tie up all the loose ends. Not to mention, it sounds exactly like something more Miguel would do. Good heavens, could you all just be a touch kinder to each other at my age? I'm surprisingly thin-skinned. Oh, poor Moriarty. True to his word, Miguel took in Daizo's sister and raised her to be a proper lady. But then he broke his word and married her. If Daizo had known this, he probably would have gone absolutely nuts and cut Miguel down on the spot. So what happens now that Roma knows the truth? Is that the end of the story? Nope, that's just the halfway point. Does Roma seem like the kind of person who would just pack his bags and leave after finding out what really happened? No, the real question is, what would he do after he learns the truth? Now then, Soul. I see this much about the same way as Arash did. Lords, I think Miguel is alive and biding his time somewhere inside the mansion. But now he's panicking after losing his paw and Salazar in an unforeseen accident. So Ron asks Garcia for help. He suspects that Garcia knows why his way around the Meihousou as well. And above all, he knows Garcia's desire to avenge Vargas is genuine. Working together, they manage to find Miguel's hideout. But when they confront him, he only has one thing to say. So what happens next? What happens next isn't it obvious? Anyway, I don't know if we're going to go with this idea or not. It's honestly embarrassing to lay it all out like this. But if we do go with it, I plan on taking it real seriously. Anyway, I hope you'll all at least do a little over. It's... okay, that idea does have... that idea does have its points. It truly does. See, the only issue that I'm having is that at the start of everything, you follow Salieri and Jelter's characters, which seems to imply that they might be somewhat more important roles in everything, you know? Now, the kind of bait-and-switch tactic is commonly used, but... I don't know. Let's see what Salieri's script pitch is. But that does wrap a few loose ends. But what is Salieri's pitch? Now this has escalated into a detective competition, or rather a contest to see who can come up with a more solid structure for this story. I would like to throw my hat into the ring. In fact, I feel I must. You do, Salieri? I mean, your characters just seem to draw much less attention compared to everyone else, so of course I have questions, though not about the film. What is it I'm doing here? No, never mind that. I already decided I would try to live up to my queen's hopes for me. I've been thinking about this man I've been inhabiting, Antonio. I wasn't able to learn much about him from Murasaki Shibuku, so I don't know who he is. All I know is he shares my name and also used to be a court musician. Huh, how blatantly ironic. Still, if I assume there is a slight chance that Antonio was a flesh and blood person who truly existed, then I can imagine what he must be thinking. It took me some time, but eventually I did arrive at the core of who Antonio is. Yeah, it was tough getting into our characters, wasn't it? Well, I'm just glad Murasaki helped me out by making Roma similar to me. Indeed, she did the same for me and Antonio. It was the conscious choice on our part. Once I realized that, the rest was relatively easy. Though at the same time, I also noticed there's a contradiction in the story. A contradiction, Given how much has been improvised, I'm not sure that there's much of a point in worrying about a contradiction or two. No, this one goes back to the very beginning. When Murasaki was still involved with the production, I suspected she planned in detail intentionally, and thought long and hard about what it could mean. I don't remember anything strange. All I remember is the footage came out well. This was from the very beginning. Go back and think. Surely remember this exchange between Antonio and Roma. I'm surprised you made it through the massacre, even though they slaughtered everyone in the palace today. You're the non-combatants. That's, yeah, I remember that. What's so weird about that line? Everything. Take Vargas and Garcia. How do you think they survived the massacre when the castle fell? How the hell should I know? Maybe they just got lucky? We need to ask. The royal family's retainers clearly risked their lives to help them escape. That is what it is to be a loyal servant in the face of a country's imminent collapse. I'm saying. Maybe that means Vargas and Garcia have been fending it for themselves all this time because they were the only ones who managed to escape. Besides, maybe it's because the prince witnessed loyalty like that when things were so dire that he grew up with such a strong sense of justice. Now that I think about it, it does seem strange that the former governor's court musician would have survived. Exactly, when the castle fell, the only ones meriting any sort of protection would have been the royalty. Antonio would never have been spared, no matter how talented a musician he may have been. Perhaps Antonio had some fans among the court, just as the prince had his retainers. Fans so devoted as to willing to risk their lives for him, no wonder that even for a peerless genius, let alone an ordinary person. No comment! For the purposes of this story, assume that there was no one quite so odd as that. Now, the reason Antonio survived the attack is obvious. He was relieved of his position as court musician just before the revolution took place. Yeah, that tracks, but why is he fired then? Huh, as if you need to ask. Because he lacked talent. And without such talent, he must have been utterly lost once he no longer had his position at the palace. It's awful. But then in that case, how did he become such a popular musician? There's a great deal of difference between what is popular with the masses and what is appreciated at court. A great deal of difference. Sounds like a guy speaking from experience. I'm not Salieri. There's no point in bringing that up now. Alright, that should fill in the blanks for Antonio's background. The next question is, why did he so fervently want to come to Meihousou? Now they mention it, he did say he had to pull every string he could just to get here. After hearing rumors that Miguel had a fondness for the young woman, he may have thought to present Elise as a gift. Whoa, scumbag much? Prick should do the world a favor and die in fire. Hell, I've got some gas and plenty of matches right here ready to burn, asshole. Just as a reminder, there still hasn't been a single crime committed here. Oh, poor Moriarty. Anyway, I still don't get why Antonio would do that. He already found success as a popular musician, right? He's got fame and money. What else would the guy want at this point? That's exactly it. Antonio came to Meihousou in search of something that neither fame nor money could provide him. Something he wanted badly enough that he was willing to sell off his own partner. What was that? Sheet music. The sheet music left by past court musicians. I don't know how much they left behind, but whatever it has to be here, it has to be the Meihousou. Miguel was going around collecting all sorts of documents anyway, so I don't see why sheet music couldn't be among them. No matter how successful Antonio was among the larger populace, it could never wipe away the stain of his youthful failure, and he found himself unable to turn away from it completely. So I wanted to see the music his dead colleagues left behind him one more time, and to know for sure. He had to make up for his prior lack of skill over the past 10 years, but the effort insurmountable no matter how hard he worked. They do say to write from experience if you want to quickly infuse work with gravitas. While the finer details are of course quite different, it would seem to bring an element of Antonio Salieri's own life here to bear that out. It's a hell of a lot to throw at the viewer, but that's how it should be. I think it's a wonderful idea. But it doesn't really get to the truth of the larger story or help with its conclusion, does it? With it would make the story all about Antonio rather than the murder of Meihousou. I did think about how I could fit the story's existing pieces together, but I'm not as practiced at this as the others. Don't expect so much with regards to truth in the case. That said, I did think of a conclusion. I think it's just the sort of thing you would expect from an Avenger. Well, what does it color me curious? I, for one, would be quite interested in hearing the conclusion that doesn't cast me as the mastermind. I see no point in going into detail in a story that maybe would never be filmed. All I see for now is that if we do set about filming it, I expect I will need Sir Tristan's help. I see. Well, if my help is required, then I'll be glad to give it. Of course, that won't happen since my idea should have been the one that's chosen. At least I think so. Oh, Tristan. Jesus, Chance, he's so worked up. Oh, Tristan, you're such a dork. Jalter's pitch. Okay, so Salieri's pitch. It's interesting. Salieri's pitch is interesting because, like I said, from the beginning of it, it did sort of pose Salieri and Jalter's characters as more of main characters here, with them being the ones being introduced to everybody and them being the ones that were present at the poisoning or whatever. So that does track. So it would make sense for Salieri. I would want to see how the conclusion is before I would make a decision on that. And it does. The thing is, it doesn't really fit in Bartholomew and them. Oh gosh, that gives me flashbacks to Lost Belt 1. Why? I can never listen to Twinkle Twinkle Little Star the same. Guess now it's my turn. Oh, I thought I would go next, but of course, I'll be happy to let you go first. After all, there's no way you could top the idea I've come up with. Is Tristan just gonna be, like, a composite of all their ideas, I wonder? Tristan seems like he's come up with something interesting, but I suspect this contest winners will determine more by who speaks up first. Don't mind if I do, then. First off, how did you guys interpret Elise's mood at the beginning? Well, since she saw someone she dislikes enough to insult miraculously claps in front of her, I guess I'd say she was in kind of, well, a suck-it mood. Remember, Saki actually asked Shelter to say as many mean things as possible. You were so vicious at times it made me think... Oh, is that where she's going with it? Oh, thanks for the praise of my acting technique, Master. For your sake, I hope you're ready to pay the price. Anyway, I'd say Elise struck me as jealous and pretty. petty. I can see why you guys would think that, but my interpretation is completely different. I know Elise isn't exactly the delicate wallflower type, especially not with me playing her. Really? Nothing? I bit my tongue. Oh, she was waiting for reaction. Anyway, I read something very interesting in the philosophy book the other day. It said that people only get jealous of others who have something they want. I don't really know anything about that kind of whiny crap, but it sounds right to me. So if Elise was jealous of Gabriella, you might think it's because of her money, but it couldn't be that, because Elise was already comfortable in her singing career and on her way to becoming truly rich. No, I think that Elise was actually jealous of her, but only because Gabriella was a better singer. So I don't think she was jealous. I think it goes deeper than that. Well, if Elise really did upset Gabriella, it'd probably make her professional life a lot harder, no matter how much popular a singer she is. And if she cared about her career that much, I can't imagine she would truly risk incurring the authority figure's wrath. And if she merely disliked Gabriella, she could have just badmouthed her behind her back. So if Elise wasn't jealous of Gabriella, what did she feel? I'd say she was strongly fixated on her. Huh? The way I see it, Elise had a very personal reason for coming to this Meihousou. A reason that motivated her to pull every string she could to get in, just like Antonia did for sheet music. She wanted to see her beloved childhood friend again. Okay. Interesting. Back when the country was still Kingdom Nida, Elsie was a child living in poverty. There was no way she'd have a good life in the final months leading up to the coup. Elise had a close friend she could always lean on for support. I think that friend was Gabriella. Let's say she was called Kuro back when she was a little girl. While I'm at it, I'll adopt Ryoma's idea of making her into Daizo's lost sister. Aw, thanks, I'm honored. And since we already had a scene where I thought Elise might be Daizo's sister, there shouldn't be any problem establishing that you're all around the same age. But then one day, Kuro suddenly disappeared and read that General Cortez took her as his daughter. And since Elise was still a commoner, there was no way she'd be able to see her friend again now that she's basically royalty. But Elise didn't give up. She vowed to see her friend again and never used what few familiar bonds she had to find Antonio. And worked hard to become a singer famous enough to rub shoulders with royalty. Eventually, all that hard work paid off, and she finally saw Kuro again. Or is it Kaoru? I don't know how to pronounce those names! Kaoru? Kaoru? I said Kuro. Because I kind of see Kuro, but I see the A-O, you know, Kuro, Karo, Karo. I don't know. But Gabriella didn't treat you like a childhood friend. If anything, it seemed like she didn't recognize you at all. I don't know if she really didn't recognize me, or if she was just pretending not to. By the way, you can imagine how pissed I would be to come all this way only to have my closest childhood friend ignore me. I think that's why I told was such a bit short, even though I was happy to see she was alive and well. Why fragrance? Fragrance. Kuro, like, as in Chloe. Still overdid a bit. Yeah, probably. Also, shut up. Think about it from Kuro's perspective. There was nothing she could do about her brother going missing, or about being taken in by some creepy old guy from the court. It doesn't matter how nice her new life was, she was still a bird in a village cage. She was fed to bury her feelings deep down just to get through that day. That's why I wanted Kuro to stop suffering in silence. I wanted to hear how she really felt, even if it meant she'd never speak to me again, that's all. It's a lot to take in, but I love how dramatic it is. Although, does that mean Elise isn't the culprit then? Hell no. There's no way Elise would do anything to ruin her chances of seeing Gabriella's reaction coming all this way. If anything, she'd be furious at the culprit for robbing her of this opportunity. Not to mention that if Gabriella ends up dying from this, she'll never have another chance to talk to her. So Elise would throw everything she has into finding the culprit for Gabriella's sake as much as her own. The culprit, Would Miguel fit the role here like he has in the other scenarios? Oh yeah, Miguel? Nah, that'll creep can stay dead so he doesn't get in the way. Ouch. Oh, poor Moriarty. Stealing. You've been dead this whole time anyways. And Elise wouldn't have any reason to undergo combat training, so she can do a fight scene anyways. Besides, I already know how the story ends. But if Miguel is the mastermind, how do you intend to tie up with the loose ends? Simple, Gabriella's a young widow. It's no stretch to think that people around her might get some wicked ideas. I'd say her servants wanted to steal all the Cortez's legacy for themselves. It makes sense, the government could take back any land property they try to steal, but if they have to dirt on the people in power, they would give them considerable more freedom to act as they like. But of course, they'd be the first suspected if they would kill Gabriella when no one is around, so they would for an opportunity like this to try and poison her. All they'd have to do is pin the crime on one of the guests. Yeah, that works. This way, we can say that Salazar tried to kill Vargas to make his death look like a suicide. Still, this would make Salazar the culprit. Would not be somewhat anticlimactic to have Morty be dead for the film's conclusion. He said servants, plural. Sellers are not the only one in this scenario. A number of servants. Still, we never see any of those other servants during the film. How would you explain that? I mean, sure, that's a little weird if you think about it, but it's also weird that there'll only be one servant in this giant mansion, right? True, that is highly unrealistic. So we can say that there's actually lots of servants behind the scenes, and they just don't actually ever appear on screen. Now I see, that sounds like a great idea. I suppose we could request that Chaldea's staff play the servants. That seems a lot to ask this late in the production. Well, sure, it'd be a huge challenge getting 10 or 20 extras here at this point, but we don't have to do that. All we need is a single actor. And lucky for us, we got someone perfect, ordinary, and unremarkable right here with us. I'm afraid I don't know who you mean. Oh, you're so dense. He's standing right there, looking like a confused dweeb even as we speak. Wait. Me? I'm the killer. Oh, now you get it? That's right. You're our new culprit. That's it. Oh, sorry, I'm afraid I got a little carried away. See, Jalter's idea is the staple of mystery movies, where it turns out the person behind the camera was actually one of the characters all along. And above all, this way Senpai can be part of the cast side too. I think it's a wonderful idea. Why? Why? I don't know how to pronounce those kinds of names. I'm sorry. Good point. If Soul's a servant here, it don't make sense he'd be sticking close to us all this time. Also, that means he'd be able to keep an eye on everything and move about freely. In a sense, it makes him way more of a villain than Moriarty. Was it really necessary to bring me into this? Wait, what? What did I say? Then when I point to the culprit, the camera does a 180, and reveals Soul as the mastermind who's literally been working behind the scenes this whole time. Intriguing. Your idea has a great deal of merit to it, Firewoman. Damn straight. Still, I know it's kind of a stretch, so I wouldn't blame you if it's not what you'd go with. You know, being creative is kind of fun. Come to think of it, you also said you already know how the story ends, right, John? Jalter, will you tell us what you have in mind? Well, it's nothing that special. After I reveal the culprit, it's basically just a scene of me that still sleep with Gabriella while I tell her how I really feel. As for how that would go, you can find out once we start filming. Okay, so Jalter's got a good pitch. I like that she tries to involve us in it. However, that does leave a lot of loose ends. Again, though, I like that it focuses on one of the possible two main characters from the very beginning. And it does... Okay, so it ties up Ozzy's death. Trying to pin that on him. Ties up those two. But it leaves Tristan, Mash, and Ryoma a little bit out there. Although, I guess adapting a bit of Ryoma's ideas. But it sort of leaves Tristan and Mash sort of out in the wind. But please, tell me what I said wrong. Let's hear Tristan's script pitch. I'm wholly ignorant. Oh, you misheard? Okay. On another note, I'm impressed by how much thought you've all put in your ideas. Of course, Isidora is the great detective, so it's bound to be just as good, if not better, right, Tristan? Excuse me. Tristan. I'm done for. What's wrong? You look like it's the very end of the world or something. I can't believe she had the same idea as me. Oh my... That's hysterical. Oh no! No, Jalter's in the waifu list, J6. Jalter's in the 8-tier waifu list, man. I wouldn't do that to her. I wouldn't do that to her. She is... So top is Mashu, with Melt a very, very close second. And then I would actually say Jalter goes above Aresh, just because Aresh hasn't really had another story event to supplement her. So yeah, that's the order. Mash, Melt is a very close second, followed by Jelter, then Aresh.
I stalked everything on my originality, and now I don't even have an original leg to stand on. If I say my ideas make the Master the culprit now, they'll think I was just ripping off Jean. Mash, being a detective is much more difficult than it seems. They may appear to be all they're blessed with special privileges, but at their heart they have almost nothing propping them up. The fact that I cannot rely on trouble for a conclusion like the rest of you leaves me at a great disadvantage. I see now that I should have been playing clues for the conclusion earlier in the story. Perhaps something that would let me claim to secretly be another character's brother, or another character's everyone else thought was dead. Tristan. By the time I found myself wishing to take on the lead role, it was already too late. Alas, if only I'd realized these feelings sooner. Oh, and also Adriana was doing almost all the actual detective work. Oh, Jelter, the burn! True, at this point, I can't tell what his character is even doing here. Indeed, for that matter, he hasn't even justified why he's been actually carrying around a harp this whole time. You just... Oh, poor Tristan. Oh, I feel bad for this. The way things are going now, Theodore will be nothing but a useless scarecrow claiming to be a great detective. Can I truly let things end this way? No, I cannot. He's first the whole sackcloth and ashes routine. Though it is true that up to this point, you haven't done a single solitary detective thing. You always cut deeper than any blade. But it's alright, I've decided to come at things from a different angle to make use of my incompetence. Tristan, given that at this point Isidore is indeed a detective in name only, what if I was actually Adriana who had been controlling him? What if it's actually Adriana who had been controlling him all along? Oh? Then upon revealing herself as a true detective, Adriana could identify the culprit, and that would be it. Oh, so you're taking my subverted expectations idea and running for that, huh? I like it. But if we go with that, you're gonna need a real doozy of an explanation. Ah, yes, the explanation. At this point, I'd say any of them would do. Huh? As long as we keep glossing over accidents and filming like the way we have been, it doesn't matter what the truth ultimately is. Any one of the ideas you four have come up with would work fine. Wouldn't that mean abandoning the larger premise? No, would it, because the conclusion I have in mind begins after that part. Why did you not just say it would be the end after Adriana solves the mystery? I decided to try looking at things a little differently. While you've all been preoccupied with solving the Meihousou murder mystery, my case involves solving the mystery of this Hollywood Meihousou itself. In other words, make this out-of-character footage itself part of the movie. So you've been including your own actual conclusion in the story, huh? That would change everything about the movie. Would you argue I've never tried to film a movie without overarching theme in mind? But now that we have, we could make Murasaki painting insurance the true mystery. What if our fainting wasn't actually an unfortunate accident, but only disguised to look like one? And if that were the case, who would stand to benefit from removing her from this scene? Does that not sound like an interesting mystery? You went the meta route. Oh, Hans knows the meta route. Still, that could work for a puzzle mystery as long as you take it seriously, though you're stretching this to the breaking point. That said, you'll need to have a real good explanation for the viewers would accept it. What have you got? I should have tipped my hand to me, for all I would say is that I guarantee it will be interesting. After all, I'm this movie's detective. So you're saving the best part for your own character, huh? I'm very curious about Tristan's idea. At any rate, we now have 5 possible endings to choose from. They all sound great, but we sadly don't have time to film them all. I guess things turn out just like Dr. Roman said they would. What do you say, Master? I can only choose one. Okay, so this is where the vote part comes into play. Ugh. Yes, I'd have to go with... Oh... Okay, I'm sorry, Tristan. I'm sorry, man. But no. I'm sorry, Tristan, but no. It doesn't work like that, man. It really just doesn't work like that. A meta one? No. I'm sorry, Tristan. I have to discount your vote right here and now, man. I'm so sorry, man. I thought it was great that he had the same idea as Jelter, that I was the culprit. And it sucks that his idea was stolen. So I understand he had to fall back on something, but the meta route, it just doesn't work, unfortunately. He'd have to pull a real doozy out of it, so I'm gonna say no to Tristan. Sadly. It's a sad no to Tristan's plan. So that leaves me with 4.
Arash, Ryoma, Saleri, and Shelter. So, let's think here. Arash and Ryoma both rely on Moriarty being alive. While it is possible he could be alive, I do think Murasaki could have wanted him for flashback scenarios as well. Plus, I'm gonna be completely honest. 2 reasons I'm not gonna go with either of those. One, while it is common knowledge Moriarty is a bad guy, it is kind of overblown, him being the devious mastermind, and I really did like the event where he was on our side for it. Sure, he was the mastermind technically behind all that as well, but it was a subversion of the story. Plus, again, I go back to how the very beginning you started following Saleri and Shelter's characters around, you know? By following their characters around from the very beginning of the actual present day, it sort of implies that one of them is the main characters in all this, you know? Saleri has an interesting script pitch. All being for music, though, and selling out Elise, but the issue is, why would he sell her out when the dude's already dead? That's a slight plot hole there. Perhaps he intended to come beforehand. He did pull as many strings as he could. I mean, it might just be because she's waifu speaking, but Jalter's idea is really nice. It does incorporate different parts from everybody's. Incorporates the whole sister that Ryoma mentioned to Izo. It incorporates the pulling strings to get in, and it could in fact allow for Saleri's idea as well, since they could technically be using each other to accomplish their own goals, you know. It doesn't so much follow Arash's storyline, but the whole murder-suicide thing would fulfill Ozzy's role and everything, and Arash could have something. Maybe I also want to be the villain just a little bit. Maybe just a little. I will be reading through all of them anyways, when the time comes for the reaction stream. But this has gone on for 3 hours, so I do think I am going to vote for Jalter's script. So, my vote has been cast for Jalter, and I look forward to seeing how everybody else votes as well. I honestly have no idea how this is going to go with results. I mean, speaking from a popularity point, it might be Jalter that wins things, although Arash is also a very popular character as well. It's a Arash and Ozzy duo there. Tristan, I feel like unfortunately Tristan might get the least amount of votes just because he is kind of a meme. Ryoma, exactly, Arash is Stella. Ryoma and Saleri, I don't know. Saleri could get some. He's a fairly popular character as well. But yeah, I've casted my vote for Jalter, and that is how I'm going to stick with my vote. And we will find out the results of the poll. Technically, the results come out tomorrow, but I am not going to be streaming Fate again until Monday, when I can also do the extra class summoning banners. So, we will find out the whole story then. Yes, everybody else will have already done it, but I don't care. I am going to call today's stream here. Tomorrow's stream is going to be Minecraft. Hopefully you'll be able to join J6. If you can't join tomorrow but can join some other day of the week, I might push Minecraft out to then. But that is the future to worry about. For now, I have been Solrak Dragon. I hope that you've enjoyed this stream. If you have, leave me some feedback in whichever way you so see fit. If you want to check out more by me, be sure to drop me a follow here on Twitch, or a like on YouTube, and drop me a sub on either, or YouTube is cheaper. It would be very much appreciated. Oh man, my throat is killing me. Thank you all so much for coming out. I hope you enjoyed. Have a fantastic evening, everybody.